The wiki describes these places as having interesting characteristics, locations that aren't marked on the map. I think using the word interesting is a pretty broad term for these locations, because there are some that don't feel quite as interesting as you would think. I struggled with the idea of showing you guys the most interesting ones or just all of them. I came to the conclusion that if I'm going to make a series of videos on every unmarked location in Skyrim, oh, and Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, 76, Starfield, and possibly Oblivion, that I needed to do it right. The interesting part isn't the locations themselves, but the fact that these developers created so many places to fill the world that seeing and recording each one is a worthy effort in my eyes. So that's what we're doing, going A through Z to every single unmarked location in Skyrim in a series of videos. And what's even more fitting is the first 3 locations are dragon mounds. Yes, the death and birthplaces of the dragons re-emerging into Skyrim. I'm sure you guys have seen these 100 times at this point, but you can find the first directly west of Bonestrewn Crest in the Bonestrewn Flats. The next is Kynesgrove Resurrection Site located northeast of Kynesgrove. Are you starting to see a theme here? Fun fact, this location is where the Shrine of Corruption quest takes place here in the Elder Scrolls Online, and Darkwater Temple is found right next to it. The last mound is the Witchmist Slope, which can be found northwest of Witchmist Grove. Like I said, it's areas like this that don't wow the addled ADHD TikTok brains. But it's still cool to see just how many dragon mounds there are and where they're located. You have to look deeper than the surface level to discover the true wow factor. But don't worry, there is some crazy stuff that'll get those TikTok endorphins rolling. This next one is a cool location for lore heads of the Elder Scrolls. It's a road.
Fuck you.
It's called Dunmith Pass, and it's been referenced in several books within the Elder Scrolls. You can find it just east of Windhelm and east of Refugees Rest. What's significant about this pass is that during the end of the Second Era, Dunmith Pass served as a base for Imperial troops guarding the road. Following the Red Year, thousands of refugees from Morrowind used the pass to escape the disaster into Skyrim. The decrepit Tower Refugees Rest, located on Skyrim's side of the pass, served as a meeting place for the refugees who achieved safe passage into Skyrim. It was where they could find loved ones and leave notice for others who could not be found. Dunmith Pass also serves as one of the few roads that allow safe passage through the Velothi Mountains from Skyrim into Morrowind. So yeah, Tomosa just looks like a frozen, boring old road. But that's the surface level, guys. If you look deeper, it has a rich history. The Kronvanger Summoning Altar is nestled in a ruined barrow northwest of Bonestrewn Crest. The altar is surrounded by the remnants of an ancient burial site that has been overtaken by hot springs. Here you'll find 2 Draugr, a soul gem on the altar, along with the remains of a novice conjurer. As you approach, a necromancer and a master necromancer will appear using powerful ranged magic like Ice Spike and Fireball to attack. One of them may even resurrect the Draugr to join the fight. The area is scattered with Draugr remains, urns, and a chest hidden within the water. Who knows what dark magic was being performed here?
Do you ever rodeo?
You know, I mean, once in a while.
Your folks run you off?
You know, they run themselves off.
Shit.
Northwest of the Atronach Stone and just above the entrance to the Elder Gleam Sanctuary, you'll find a hidden stash of ritual materials stored in a crate. To reach it, simply walk to the left of the Elder Gleam Sanctuary entrance and climb on top of the cave's entrance. It's a fun little thing to find. South of the Sakellum of Boethia, you don't want to know what his Sakellum is, trust me, lies a large wild animal den inhabited by several leveled creatures. Nearby down the hill, there's a hunter's camp. Additionally, you'll find 2 gold ore veins that can be found at the top of the hill, just left of the den. The den belongs to creatures of leveling, meaning whatever creature is appropriate to your level.
Lucky Lawrence, come on over. Oh God.
What the hell was that? Lucky Lawrence's shack is an unmarked location situated northwest of Fort Amal, near the base of a waterfall and across the river from the abandoned prison. The shack is in ruins, and floating in the river beneath the collapsed staircase is the body of its former owner, Lucky Lawrence. On his body, you'll find treasure map 9. Should I make the joke? Guess Lucky Lawrence wasn't so lucky. And now we have 5 hidden and secret hunters camps. So yeah, that's cool, I guess. The first is located northwest of Narzlbur, southeast of Windhelm, and southwest of the Sakellum of Boethia. And you'll just find 2 hunters here just hanging out. The next is halfway between Anselvund and Kagranzel. You'll find an archer's book here. Steamcrag Slopes is located east of Steamcrag Camp in Eastmarch. The camp sits on a raised flat outcropping of rock overlooking the steam vents and pools below. To find it, cross the road heading east and circle around the outcropping of rocks. The camp is large and features 2 horses, a wagon, several hunters, and a dead mammoth being butchered. The hunters are pretty friendly, unless you steal from the camp. Then they're not friendly. This last one's pretty interesting if you haven't been here. The Sulphur Soaking Pools is situated west of Eldergleam Sanctuary, east of Fort Mall, and south of Broken Limb Camp. The camp features 3 hunters bathing in the hot springs butt naked. Well, not really. Unless you have those mods, if you know what I mean. But you can't talk to or trade with any of them. Mara's Eye Stones is an unmarked location found directly south of Mara's Eye Pond. The area features Nordic ruin stones that are now home to a Spriggan Earth Mother or Spriggan Matron. The Spriggan will enthrall any nearby animals to assist in attacking intruders. Mistwatch Folly is situated north of Mistwatch. The area consists of ruins guarded by 3 skeleton warriors who will attack if approached. In the center of the ruins, you'll find an embalming table with 2 ingots of refined moonstone. It's kind of wild that ruins like these have no map marker. This place is pretty big. Not really significant, but big. This one is sad. Head northeast of Mistwatch and directly east of Mistwatch Folly. Here, you'll encounter a giant mourning the loss of his mammoth, which lies dead in a small hot spring pool. Unlike other giants, this one isn't hostile, and he'll only attack you if he's provoked. They even call this place the Mournful Giant. Poor guy lost his best friend to the swamps. You thought we were done with dragon mounds. Wrong. Don't worry, I thought so too, but then I stumbled upon it further down the list, damn it. You can find it southwest of Mzulft. Located north of Mara's Eye Pond, east of Uttering Hill Caves, and south of Inga's Mill, there's a den that's marked by a worn banner on a wooden pole wedged in the rocks. Inside the ravine beneath the crag, you'll find the body of a Stormcloak soldier near some ore veins. The Frost Troll's lair is strewn with a Stormcloak helmet, a dead ice wolf, fur gauntlets, and bones. Looks like this guy's having himself a good old feast. I'm sure the Sons of Skyrim are already planning on pushing out all the Frost Trolls at this point.
You come here where you're not wanted. You eat our food, you pollute our city with your stink. Refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
Go north of Mistwatch and south of Steamcrag Camp. At the top of the hill, you'll find a shrine of Akatosh surrounded by a circle of stones. An altar in the center is guarded by 3 risen skeletons, which will dissipate once the necromancy spell wears off. On the altar, you can find a skill book titled Breathing Water for Alteration. It's interesting to me why there would be skeletons nearby a divine shrine, especially one that is an arcade. I guess Akatosh doesn't mind a few bones here and there. Alright, I'll stop with the lame jokes. The Shrine of Talos, the Watcher of Windhelm. What an extravagant name for this location. Who even picks these names? Like, it's not Bethesda because they didn't mark these locations. It's just some rando on the internet who thought it sounded cool. To be fair, it is pretty cool. You'll find it located directly across the river Yorgrim from Windhelm and the stables. The wiki even says, a Shrine of Talos watching over Windhelm and its people. Pure glazing for Talos here. This whole description felt so different from the rest of the articles, it feels like some guy from Windhelm hit up the wiki and just started cooking. Another Shrine of Talos can be found east of Cradle Crush Rock, near a peaceful pond surrounded by large Nordic stoneheads. The site features a chest, some gear, and a skill book for those that visit. Witchmist Sulphur Pool is an unmarked location east of Witchmist Grove and north of Steamcrag Camp. It's just a sulfur hot spring, perfect for those who enjoy a steamy soak in the rugged Eastmarch landscape.
Follow the shoreline east from Dawnstar Sanctuary, passing several horkers, and you will find a small camp featuring an animal skin tent. Known as the Lover's Tent, this unmarked location smells of quiet intimacy and romance, and maybe even sex, offering a glimpse into the simpler, more human stories of Skyrim. Within the camp, one may find an amulet of Mara, 16 red mountain flowers, and 2 boiled cream treats, although the wildflowers, empty bottles, and the amulet may not always appear, adding a touch of unpredictability to the discovery. The tent, with its modest setup of bedrolls and scattered belongings, gives shared refuge and warmth, contrasting with the rugged beauty of the surrounding wilderness. Its placement near the serene shoreline and its intimate details invite speculation about the lives of the lovers who once sought solace here. Was this a retreat for star-crossed souls, or simply a fleeting sanctuary for 2 hearts in a harsh world? And aside from the 2 cream treats mentioned, what other cream treats? Never mind, I won't say the joke.
North of Vollenrud is an unmarked location known as a Bloody Trail. This site tells the tale of violence through its scattered clues. Following a trail of blood uphill to the north-northwest of Vollenrud towards the shrine of Mehrunes Dagon, it'll lead you to a rock outcropping where a dead female Bosmer can be found. Clutched in her possession is map number 6, offering a good lead to some hidden riches. Nearby you'll find a leveled bow that lies abandoned, suggesting the final moments of a desperate struggle. At the other end of the blood trail lies the body of a dead male Bosmer, further deepening the mystery. The scene implies a deadly altercation, perhaps over the map, though the exact nature of their conflict is left to the imagination. A bloody trail is not only a discovery of potential treasure, but also a reminder of the perilous lives lived in Tamriel, where greed and survival often clash in fatal encounters. The bandit camp near Dawnstar, known in the official Skyrim guide as the Shoreline Bandit Camp, is a small location nestled along the coast of the west of Dawnstar. The unmarked site is home to a group of 3 leveled bandits and 1 bandit archer who respawn every 3 days. So just be aware if you ever decide to randomly head back to this location for whatever reason. The camp itself is equipped with bedrolls, a cooking spit, and a chest containing leveled loot, offering some okay-ish rewards if you decide to clear it. If you're a destruction mage, or you're like me and you just feel like collecting every book that raises a skill you'll never use, you'll find a hypothetical treachery, a book that permanently increases the reader's destruction skill. It's honestly the best thing that you'll find here. The Shoreline Bandit Camp is a classic example of the makeshift hideouts that bandits use to exploit Skyrim's wilderness. Its strategic position along the rugged coastline allows its occupants to monitor and ambush unsuspecting travelers or fishermen venturing too far from Dawnstar. If you watch any of our other Skyrim unmarked location videos, you'll know that unmarked bandit camps are pretty much everywhere. They won't blow your mind, but it's cool to see all the little places handpicked by the devs.
The Bandits' Hovel, located southeast of Highgate Ruins and southwest of the Pale Imperial Camp, is a ruin of a shack now claimed by bandits. This small but evocative location is surrounded by eerie details, including a burned down horse carriage near the front and a burnt corpse that remains perpetually ablaze, creating a chilling and unforgettable visual. Within the hovel, adventurers will find a leveled chest, offering modest rewards for those daring enough to confront the bandits who now occupy the ruins. The simple furnishings and rough state of the shack suggest it served as a temporary hideout, reflecting the transient and opportunistic nature of Skyrim's outlaws. The origin of this wreckage is unknown, and aside from that mystery, the internal flames radiating from the corpse is perhaps the coolest part to this unmarked location. Southeast of the wreck of the Brinehammer, along the desolate shore of the Sea of Ghosts, lies a small upturned fishing boat known as the Barnacle Boat. This sunken relic of Skyrim's maritime past has become a new home for mud crabs and Nordic barnacle clusters, its wreckage teeming with marine life that hints at nature's reclamation of what once was man-made. Beneath the boat, partial remains of a skeleton rest silently, a grim reminder of the perilous lives of those who dared to navigate the northern seas. Adventurers venturing to this remote location will find not only alchemy ingredients like clams and barnacles, but also a treasure for scholars and mages. A copy of Daughter of the Niben. This book, which permanently increases alteration skill, makes the journey to this eerie shoreline all the more rewarding. The frigid waters and haunting atmosphere evoke a sense of both danger and wonder, as the wreck's quiet desolation is juxtaposed with the life it now supports.
Located west of Dawnstar is a good example of the wild wilderness of the Pale. To reach the den, you can follow the shoreline or take the main road north to Dawnstar, then head along a rough snow path northwest and around to a shoreline overhang. Once you find the den, you'll also run into the guy inhabiting it, a frost troll. So just be aware. The den's natural cave-like structure blends seamlessly with the frigid environment, and within you'll find a chest holding some pretty good loot. The Death Blow of Abermanet, this skill book, is a poem recounting the Battle of Abermanet, a historic conflict involving one of House Dagoth's strongholds, and it permanently increases the reader's block skill. Sneaky players might choose to slip past the troll to claim the chest. I figured I would just let you know it's an option, but I'm sure your 80+ nuked out archer build won't have an issue. This mound is one of many scattered across Skyrim, serving as a burial site for fallen dragons from an age-long past. Its connection to Alduin, the world eater who seeks to resurrect dragons from these resting places, ties it to the main narrative of Skyrim. You've probably seen a lot of these just from playing the mainline game, but there really is a bunch of them that go unnoticed by most players. So we just decided to add them in because they're kind of interesting. We have a couple more as well. The Dragon Mound Yorgrim Resurrection is an ancient burial site located a short distance upriver from Inga's Mill in Eastmarch. This mound serves as the final resting place of the dragon Vintaruth, until Alduin arrives to resurrect him during the quest Elder Knowledge. You can find it marked by weathered stones and an aura of ancient power. This site transforms into a dramatic stage for Alduin's efforts to rebuild his army of dragons. Occasionally, after Alduin performs his shout to awaken Vintaruth, he'll fly off to prepare for his confrontation with the Dragonborn and Parthenax on the throne of the world, leaving the burial mound to burst open. Usually we don't put in locations that are connected to questlines, especially main ones, because then these places don't feel very secret. But this one has something cool located nearby, and I wanted to give a little more context on the mounds for the inevitable ones that we cover in the future. Beyond its role in the questline, there is a chest hidden near the edge of the mound. It doesn't hold anything too special, but it's something that you might have missed on your first visit here.
Northeast of Highgate Ruins lies a small island adorned with Nordic ruins, now claimed by the Horkers that frequent the icy shores of the Sea of Ghosts. This location, often referred to as the Horker Standing Stones, is a curious and whimsical unmarked site. The ruins consist of several standing stones arranged in a circle, their weathered carvings hinting at an ancient purpose now long forgotten. These stones, contrasted with the lumbering Horkers, create a scene that is both mysterious and oddly charming. Adventurers exploring this area will find more than just atmospheric beauty. Scattered across the 3 small islands are valuable resources, including Nirnroot and a quicksilver vein ripe for mining. The tranquil yet eerie setting invites speculation about the stone's origins. Could they have been a forgotten ritual site, a place of worship for ancient Nords, or simply a natural convergence of rock and ice now reclaimed by Tamriel's wildlife? Found to the south of Fort Dunstad, this den is a perilous spot, often inhabited by wild predators such as wolves or saber cats. It is a testament to the harsh survivalism of Skyrim's fauna, as evidenced by a striking scene near the den, the carcass of a mammoth felled by 4 wolves, lying as a grim reminder of the wilderness's dangers. Nearby, the remains of a giant and a dead elk further underscore the ferocity of this area. Adventurers approaching the den may encounter minor loot, such as a chest or scattered valuables, hidden amidst the snow and rocks. The Ice Shard Wild Animal Den encapsulates Skyrim's atmospheric storytelling with the constant interplay of beauty and peril, inviting players to explore the frozen expanse of Tamriel with both curiosity and caution.
Located due west of the Lorius Farm lies the Mammoth Graveyard, a pit littered with the skeletal remains of mammoths, a fresh mammoth carcass, and the only 2 known poachers in Skyrim. This unique site is marked with painted giant stones, giving us a look at its sacred significance to the giants who revere and protect these majestic creatures. This location is also a focal point for the Dragonborn's journey, as it's here that one of the kind sacred trials takes place. During this trial, the Dragonborn must face the Guardian Mammoth, which is like a massive spirit version of a mammoth if you haven't done the quest before. You'll also notice the presence of the 2 poachers hanging around the graveyard, probably here to take the dead mammoth's tusks or other valuable parts. It's sad to see, especially because the giants clearly revere this place like a cemetery or a religious site. It's even guarded by a giant, and the site feels almost sacred, a place where these colossal beasts are honored even in death. Shimmermist Hills is a dragon mound located a short walk northwest of Shimmermist Cave, easily identified by its large green earthen mound and distinctive standing stones encircling it. This site holds significant importance in Skyrim's draconic lore. Like other dragon mounds scattered across Tamriel, it serves as the burial place of a powerful dragon defeated in ancient times, a reminder of the Nord's struggle against these mighty creatures.
East of Tumble Arch Pass and overlooking Erkingthand lies a poignant and unmarked location known as Juliano's Fallen. Here, a skeleton rests half buried in the snow, clutching a shrine of Juliano's in a final act of devotion. This simple yet haunting scene tells a quiet story of faith and perseverance in an unforgiving environment. The makeshift shrine, adorned with offerings and surrounded by the stark beauty of the snowy landscape, speaks to the worshipper's dedication to Juliano's, the divine of wisdom and logic. The serene yet somber atmosphere invites us to pause and reflect, offering but a moment of introspection amidst our journey. From Valenrud, travel northwest to discover a lovely shrine of Mara framed elegantly by a Dwemer arch. This serene location marks the borders between the Pale, Hjalmark, and Whiterun holds, standing as a quiet sentinel at the crossroads of these regions. Referred to as the Border Corner Roadside Shrine of Mara in the official Skyrim game guide by Prima, the shrine exudes a tranquil charm in this isolated region. The shrine is simple yet evocative, featuring a stone altar surrounded by natural elements like snowberries and scattered stones. While modest in its offerings, the shrine serves as a beacon of love, healing, and compassion, inviting wary travelers to pause and reflect. Oh, and for treasure seekers, the site offers an additional reward. Treasure Map 6 can be found a short way behind the shrine. Yes, this map is the same one connected to the hidden location of a bloody trail, which we mentioned earlier in the video. Northwest of the wreck of the Brinehammer and the Sea of Ghosts lies a hidden gem of exploration. A submerged chest filled with leveled loot, aptly embodying the allure of Skyrim's sunken treasures. Just northwest of the wreck are two tiny flat islands. From the smaller western island, face due north and dive into the icy depths to uncover the chest. Among its treasures is the skill book Sithis, which permanently increases the alteration skill. This chest's loot is determined by the Dragonborn's level and does not restock, making its discovery a one-time reward for the intrepid adventurer. This underwater trove offers more than just material gain. It captures the spirit of Skyrim's vast and untamed world, the serene yet haunting underwater environment with rays of sunlight piercing the cold, murky waters, evokes a sense of beauty and mystery. The presence of the sunken chest transforms this remote corner of the Sea of Ghosts into a small yet captivating tale of hidden wealth and forgotten relics.
Outside the elevator exit for the Tower of Mazark lies an adventurer's camp, a modest and practical site nestled in the remote wilderness of Skyrim. The camp is outfitted with a knapsack, 2 chests, one notably empty, 3 bedrolls, some food, and an assortment of dwarven clutter, including smeltable pieces and of course a trusty pickaxe. The site feels like the campers here, or adventurers, were gearing up to go diving into some Dwemer ruins. Maybe they did, and they never came back. The proximity of this camp to one of Skyrim's most significant locations is the Dwemer stronghold that houses the Elder Scroll required for Dragonrend Shout, making it an even more interesting location to check out, especially if you're on your way out after collecting the Elder Scroll. Located just west of Inga's Mill along the Yorgrim River is the serene and picturesque Waterfall campsite. Nestled beside a cascading waterfall, this small camp offers a tranquil setting, but that's not all. The campsite itself is modest, consisting of a lone tent, a campfire, and a pond surrounded by the natural beauty of the area. Of course, you have to check behind the waterfall. I mean, who doesn't? You'll find there are a few treasures for the observant player. A skeleton, a barrel, and a locked strongbox waiting to be discovered. The camp is uninhabited, save for the occasional mud crabs that skitter nearby. However, it becomes a pivotal location during the quest contract Kill Anodius Papius. Anodius is plagued by paranoia, and he takes refuge here, only to meet a tragic end when the Dragonborn fulfills a Dark Brotherhood contract for his assassination. You'll also find a skeleton bobbing in the water and clues left behind that suggest a story of survival, misfortune, or perhaps foul play.
Northwest of Forsaken Cave, perched atop a mountain peak, lies the serene and rugged Wayward Peak summit. Marked by a solitary flag, this unmarked location offers adventurers a small but worthwhile cache containing a satchel, a helmet, and a leveled weapon. However, the true reward for those who brave the ascent is the magnificent view of Yorgrim Basin, a sweeping panorama of snow-covered wilderness and jagged peaks that epitomize Skyrim's stark beauty. The journey to Wayward Peak summit is not without its challenges. Steep inclines and the biting winds of the Pale make the trek a test of endurance, and wild predators or frost trolls may lurk along the way. At the summit, the remnants of a previous visitor, perhaps an adventurer or a soul-seeking solitude, can be found, leaving behind modest treasures and a sense of mystery. The Yorgrim Forest Spider Trap, located northeast of Tumble Arch Pass, is a small but sinister Dwemer masonry tucked within the dense woods near the Yorgrim River. At first glance, the site appears to be a simple forgotten structure containing a chest and a skeleton to loot. However, this seemingly benign scene hides a deadly ambush. As the Dragonborn approaches the chest, frostbite spiders descend from the trees above, springing their trap on the unsuspecting adventurer. The area's web-laden surroundings and eerie quiet provide subtle hints of the danger lurking above, and with the combination of Dwemer ruins and a well-placed corpse's bait, creates a compelling narrative of survival and danger.
In the Evergreen Woods is an unmarked spot in Skyrim. Nestled north of Evergreen Grove in Falkreath Hold, this camp belonged to a now dead alchemist, who met a tragic fate at the hands of some Spriggans. The camp itself features a pond teeming with mud crabs, 3 glowing nernroot plants, and a cluster of bleeding crown mushrooms near 2 trees. If you explore, you'll find the alchemist's journal number 2 on a crate by the bedroll and an alchemy skill book, sitting on a tree stump near the extinguished campfire. We have 5 bandit camps in Falkreath. The name is pretty much the description for these places. Just small hidden holes where bandits like to hide out. I'll show you them all really quickly, and we won't delve too far into each one individually because they're all fairly similar. Bear Cave at Haldir's Cairn is a dangerous place located just west of Haldir's Cairn. This bear den is home to 2 very much alive and very deadly bears, along with the unfortunate remains of 2 hunters who didn't make it. If you head northeast and downhill from the cave, you'll stumble upon the Bear Hunters Camp, which does lead us directly into our next location. The Bear Hunters Camp is located west of Falkreath and north of Haldir's Cairn. To find it, head west from Falkreath towards Cracktusk Keep, then turn south and take uphill path toward Haldir's Cairn. You'll come across a small, unoccupied camp with no hunters in sight. The camp holds a few treasures, including the Hunter's Journal and a sneak skill book, both found on a crate beside the tent. The missing hunters? Well, you know exactly what happened to those guys. Not very good bear hunters, I would say. The Bugling Elk is a peaceful, unmarked location nestled in a meadow among the ruins of a Nordic statue southeast of Evergreen Grove. Here, you'll encounter a majestic elk bugling in the wild. It's a cool little thing to find that doesn't happen anywhere else. Another interesting little fact is that they recorded this elk for the initial Skyrim gameplay trailer. You can find this southwest of Evergreen Grove. The scene tells a sad story of a likely dragon attack that has left 2 horses and several travelers as charred corpses among the wreckage of a smoldering carriage. Despite the devastation, an intact chest can still be found amid the ruins. Over time, the fire and smoke will fade away, leaving only silence and the remains of this tragic event. This is a somber location tucked away northwest of Half Moon Mill. You'll find a Nordic grave marker, marking the final resting place of an unfortunate dark elf. Beneath the marker lies the dark elf's lifeless body, with a coin purse and a dagger beside him. It's quiet here, and definitely moody. You do have to wonder what happened to this poor guy. Just like the bandit camps, we'll run through where each of the dragon mounds are located in this region. There are only 3 of them. In a serene location situated on the southern shores of Lake Ilinalta, just south of South Brittleshin Pass, this small peaceful island serves as a humble fisherman's camp, where you'll find a simple setup and plenty of bees buzzing around a nearby beehive. It's a quiet spot, perfect for a moment of tranquility among the wilds of Skyrim, offering a brief respite from the dangers that usually lurk nearby. We have 3 hunters camps which are in the same vein as the bandit camps, places where hunters stay. We'll run through these relatively quickly as well, but the last one does have an amazing view. This isn't Animal Crossing, but it's close enough. Just head north of North Brittleshin Pass. To find it, follow the road from Whiterun until you near the Brittleshin Pass cave. Then take a dirt road off the main path. There, you'll discover a hollow tree with a little surprise inside. A strong box with an apprentice lock containing a small sum of gold, aka the money tree. Located west of North Shriekwin Bastion in Falkreath, you'll find a pauper's burial ground near Lake Ilinalta marked by 6 graves. Standing guard over these resting places are 2 skeletal sentinels. Why these people are buried here specifically, no one knows. Maybe they were great heroes and this was the location of their final battle. Peddler's Misfortune is a tragic place situated north of Sunderstone Gorge. Alongside the road, you'll find the lifeless body of a Khajiit peddler beside his overturned cart and his dead horse. 2 bear traps lie nearby, hinting at the danger that led to this unfortunate scene. Among the wreckage, you can find A Dance in Fire Volume 7, a speech skill book, tucked away in the shattered cart. Situated north of Bone Chill Passage near a picturesque waterfall, you'll find a shack. The small shack bears the aftermath of a recent dragon attack, evidenced by 2 charred corpses. The nearby dragon peak, Ancient's Ascent, suggests that the beast flew down from its perch to wreak havoc on the prospectors. Inside the shack, you'll find a chest, a silver necklace on an end table, and a Purloined Shadow skill book for pickpocketing. Also, a note to the authorities offers a glimpse into the events that did unfold here. This is a chilling location, positioned southwest of Evergreen Grove and just west of the roadside ruins. Here, a grim stone altar is adorned with blood and bones, standing as a monument to dark rituals. Nearby, a dead Imperial woman lies on the altar, watched over by a leveled necromancer. Here you can find Apothecary's Satchel on the altar and the 2920 Frostfall Volume 10 Conjuration skill book among the scattered potions. Nightshade plants also grow around the altar as well if you're an adventurous alchemist type. Found in the foothills southwest of the Guardian Stones and northeast of Pine Watch, and just a short distance from where you can build Lakeview Manor, the shrine is accessible by following a winding cobblestone path from the Guardian Stones, veering right past a fallen tree and a large rock and ascending a short step path. The shrine bears the terrible aftermath of another massacre. 4 Talos worshippers have been slain in a fierce battle with a Thalmor soldier who lies dead among them. Thalmor agent dressed like a justiciar is identified by Thalmor orders signed by the first emissary Elenwyn. Revealing his name is Agent Sanyan. I'm no Thalmor lover, but it's pretty insane that he 4v1'd everyone here. Or maybe it's not because they're just religious folk. What do you guys think? Sunken Barrow is a mysterious location found beneath the waters of Lake Ilinalta. To find it, look for 3 moss-covered standing stones just peeking above the lake's surface. Dive into the depths and you'll discover an ancient submerged barrow. Inside, there's a chest, a burial urn partially buried in the mud, and some scattered loot. Nordic barnacles cling to the submerged stonework, and an urn can be found to the right of a table strewn with tools hidden among the silt. Located north of Pine Watch, this small eerie site features a cluster of standing stones, where a novice conjurer is found conducting rituals at a necromancy altar. Among the mystical setup, you can discover the 2920 Hearthfire Volume 9 Conjuration skill book and a burial urn. You'll find the headless skeleton north of South French Sanctum on the icy rocky slopes. Here, a lone pine tree stands guard over Fort Newgrad, beneath which rests a decapitated skeleton. The beheading axe remains stuck in the tree's trunk, a reminder of the skeleton's fate. Next to the scene, you'll find a chest containing a leveled war axe and the Warrior's Charge skill book. This is another one of Bethesda's classic ways to tell a story without actually saying or writing anything, but instead just showing. It leaves you with a lot of ideas of what happened to this person and why. The Lost Conjurer is an intriguing unmarked location hidden among the rugged mountains west of Bloodlit Throne. Navigate the steep slope to discover 2 ore veins and continue west to find the remains of a forgotten mage. You'll also find the 2920 Volume 9 Hearthfire Conjuration skillbook, along with some void salts and 6 pieces of orichalcum ore. Always let someone know where you're going while hiking, or you might end up like the Lost Conjurer. This one is my favorite in Falkreath. The Silver Moon is a sunken relic that lies south of the Lady Stone in Lake Ilinalta. This ancient trading vessel, now a ghostly presence beneath the waves, has been there for as long as Riverwood's residents can remember. Dive beneath the water to explore the Silver Moon's wreck. While much of its cargo has been claimed by the lake, you'll find a chest in the middle of the deck and the captain's skeleton floating in the cabin, with his weapon on the top floor. Searching the wreck reveals a trove of underwater treasures. Nordic barnacles, various fish, clams, and an iron ore vein. On the lake bed nearby, you can also find 10 more Nordic barnacles, a clam, and slaughterfish eggs. The size of the vessel hints that Lake Ilinalta may have once been much larger, though of course they don't go into detail in-game. Also, another little fun fact for you, you can actually see the end of the boat on the map if you zoom in. In the vast expanse north of Knife Point Ridge, the toppled towers stand as weathered relics of old times. These two ancient toppled structures lean dramatically to one side, now serving as a den for a pack of wolves. The first tower harbors a hidden chest, a deceased creature, and some blister-worn mushrooms, while the second, located behind its crumbling sibling, hides another chest accessible only through a daring climb up the cliff face. The latter chest is harder to reach, so good luck. Southeast of Ingi's camp, the two lost crates are hidden treasures perched on a cliff above. To find them, start from the mountain paths east of Falkreath near Peak Shade Tower. Follow the path past stacked rocks and bear traps, and then take a sharp left. Watch for a rock wall on your right. After about 15 to 20 seconds, you'll spot an opening leading up through the rocks. Climb this incline and the crates will appear where the terrain levels out. Nearby, a gold ore vein can also be found. Among the crates, you'll find the skill book 3 Thieves, which is a rare tome with only 2 other known locations in Skyrim, and 1 in Apocrypha from the Dragonborn expansion. North of the Twilight Sepulchre and close to the Shrine of Akatosh, you'll discover the Whitecap Circle. This strange site features a ring of whitecap mushrooms reminiscent of the Toadstool Ring. Within the circle, a gruesome scene unfolds. A blood splatter, a human skull, and a book pinned with an arrow. And to top it off, a random staff. Who knows what sort of freaky rituals took place here? 2 wild animal dens can be found in Falkreath. Kinda surprised there wasn't more. The first is in Orphan's Tier, not far from the site of the Falkreath Stormcloak camp. The second is the Pine Watch Outcropping, found below a rocky outcrop facing the main road and Lake Ilinalta. Just west of Lakeview Manor and south of Lake Ilinalta lies the ill-fated scene of the Woodcutter. This deceased Breton lumberjack rests beside a few recently felled trees, the last thing he ever did. Next to him, you'll find his unique iron battle axe, the Woodsman's Friend, a symbol of his trade. The nearby Conjurer's Altar hints at mysterious forces, though his cause of death does remain a mystery. This is one of those places that seems to hum with ancient mystery, its presence raising more questions than answers. Found deep in the frozen wilds of Winterhold, atop the snowy mountain above the sightless pit, this unmarked location is little more than a weathered stone altar, surrounded by skeletal remains that feel both sacred and sinister. What makes the altar of Zrib stand out is its mystery. Who or what is Zrib? The game doesn't offer any direct explanation, leaving us to wonder if this was once a site of worship for an obscure deity or a forgotten ritual space, or perhaps something even darker. The skeletal remains scattered around the altar suggest a violent end for those who came here, which, let's be honest, wouldn't be so weird to find in Skyrim. Among these bones, you'll find a skill book and various offerings. However, disturbing anything here comes at a cost. Touching the offerings will awaken the skeleton lying on the altar, and then resurrect 2 more from the nearby piles of bones.
Located northwest of Journeyman's Nook on a glacier top is a camp with 2 tents, 2 bedrolls, 1 skeleton, and a strong box. Called Hunter's Camp Glacier's Edge in the official Skyrim game guide by Prima, its most striking feature is the lifeless body of its lone inhabitant, sprawled near a modest campfire, hinting at the ironically named Dead Man's Camp. The scene is made all the more eerie by its stillness, the surrounding area holding the faint echo of a life cut short. Was this an adventurer who met their end at the hands of someone or something lurking in the mountains? A traveler who succumbed to the unforgiving elements?
The world may never know.
Despite its name, Dead Man's Camp isn't about grandeur or quests. It's about the little moments in Skyrim that make the world feel alive, even in death. Dead Man's Treasure is one of those rare unmarked gems that feels like stumbling upon a whispered secret of the land. On a large island northeast of the wreck of the Winter War lies the site of a haunting mystery known as Dead Man's Treasure. Scattered debris from a shipwreck tells a story of a desperate struggle for survival. On the west side of the island, adventurers will find several scattered crates and 3 lootable barrels, along with 2 birds' nests perched atop the wreckage. Moving north, the somber centerpiece of the site comes into view, a skeleton slumped against a large crate. The survivor, it seems, crafted a makeshift rescue flag using an oar from the wrecked ship, a desperate plea to the uncaring sea. Yet rescue never came. Besides the skeletal remains lies a pile of gold ingots, treasures that feel bittersweet in the face of what unfolded here. Whether this corpse clung to hope or accepted their fate remains unknown, but at least they left a skill book for you to find.
Located northwest of the wreck of the Winter War, the Fisherman's Camp of Slaughterfish Bay is a small abandoned site steeped in tragedy. Once used by 2 Nord fishermen, Skegger and Advard, the camp now tells the tale of their ill-fated venture. Among the remnants of their life here is an upturned boat, beneath which lies a small stash of loot on the sea floor. Nearby, the skeletons of Skegger and Advard float underwater, drifting away after being looted. At the camp itself, you can find a pair of journals, one written by Skegger and the other by Advard. These fishermen's journals, distinguished by their brown and red covers, paint a vivid picture of their struggles. Their journey southward was driven by tales of a cursed and sunken imperial fort, hinting at their struggle as fishing proved less lucrative than hoped. Advard was more skeptical of the ghost stories. He stumbled upon what he believed to be a gold mine, which was a rich vein of dwarven metal. But whatever promise the bay held was overshadowed by its dangers. According to the Fisherman's Journal, Advard persuaded Skegger to stay at this camp. Here they would fish, tell stories, and enjoy drinking. The next day, the two friends died while out fishing in Slaughterfish Bay. Skegger's boat took on water and overturned, tipping the men into the sea where they were attacked and eaten by slaughterfish. Southeast of the shore, under the bridge of the College of Winterhold and east of the town, lies a sad scene known as the Friends Forever. In a crevice pass not far up the path from the shore, two skeletons tell a silent story of loyalty and loss. One skeleton is caught in a bear trap, its legs still clamped in the iron jaws, while the other, an alchemist, appears to have been attempting to administer aid. Unable or unwilling to leave her companion, the alchemist stayed, and together they met their fate in the wintry cold. The alchemist had a skill book and ingredients carefully stored in her apothecary's satchel, giving us some backstory on what might have happened here. Friends Forever is a story of companionship in life and in death, but more importantly, it's a place you can easily gain a free skill point.
North of Alftand and west of Sarthal lies a surreal site known as the Frozen Mammoth. Encased partially in a glacier, this ancient beast stands as a reminder of Skyrim's harsh past. The mammoth's side is pierced by dwarven spears and arrows, suggesting it met its end at the hands of the Dwemer, a rare glimpse into their interactions with the natural world. According to the action, a level 2-handed weapon is embedded in the mammoth's back. While it may be difficult to retrieve, the glacier can be climbed, allowing the Dragonborn to jump onto the beast's back to claim the weapon. On top of the glacier, additional mammoth skeletons lie scattered, further deepening the lore of this location. The frozen mammoth's surroundings add to its eerie allure. Scattered skeletal remains and items hint at others who may have ventured here, drawn by the mammoth's enormous presence only to meet their demise. Predators such as saber cats are known to lurk nearby, turning the area into a perilous trap for the unwary. The glacier itself, with its cold, crystalline beauty, amplifies the sense of timelessness and isolation. This site is more than a visual spectacle. It's one of Skyrim's many Easter eggs, as the frozen mammoth is an intriguing detail that ties the location to real-world history, referencing the discovery of a mammoth frozen in ice and recovered in the 1990s. Just northeast of Journeyman's Nook, on the way down to the waterfront, lies a modest site known as the Hall of the Horkers. Tucked into the crevice of rock and ice, the area is guarded by two vigilant Horkers who stand watch over a locked chest containing random loot. Beside the chest lies a restoration skillbook, 2920 Volume 4, Rain's Hand, a practical reward for adventurers seeking to enhance their magical skill sets. Additionally, a silver ore vein is located at this exact spot, offering yet another incentive to explore. The Hall of the Horkers tells a story of survival and resourcefulness, with its scattered elements suggesting the work of industrious hunters or scavengers who never return to claim their bounty. The freshly butchered Horkers and the carefully placed items hint at a life out in Skyrim's northern wilderness. Was the site abandoned in haste, perhaps due to lurking dangers, or is this the result of an untimely fate? It's a fun location to stumble upon as it offers loot in a manner of quiet discovery.
This is an interesting spot along the icy shoreline south of Bleak Coast Cave, belonging to two Horker hunters who have temporarily left to pursue more game. This camp offers up a rare opportunity for quiet exploration and looting. It's a simple setup with a tent, cooking fire, and an abundance of Horker meat and tusks, evidence of the hunters' trade in the cold expanse of the Sea of Ghosts. The camp holds several treasures for the wandering Dragonborn. Among the supplies, you can find a light armor skill book, Rizlav the Righteous, tucked away alongside a knapsack, a coin purse, and various other useful items. Perhaps the most unexpected reward is the hunter's horse, which was left behind and free to take, making the location feel like a lucky find rather than just another stop along the coast. Though the camp is unguarded, it is symbolic of its occupants, who can be found a short distance northeast at the Horkers Hunter's Last Stand. The site's alternate name in the official Skyrim guide, the Hunter's Camp, Seashore of Ghosts, feels more like an afterthought since this location never got that official name. Ambition gone tragically awry, or a story of unfound pride. Found southeast of Bleak Coast Cave on a sandbar near the Sea of Ghosts, this unmarked site marks the final moments of two Horker hunters who ventured from their nearby camp to hunt but found themselves overwhelmed by the icy water's resident beasts. You know, that camp that we just went over. Two lifeless hunters lie among the remainder of their struggle, alongside the carcass of a single Horker that they managed to fell. Two surviving Horkers linger nearby, almost like they're taunting the hunters' dead bodies. As far as the loot goes, you can find treasure map 8 on one of the hunters. This location was referred to in the official Skyrim guide as the Hunter's Last Stand, which captures the reality of survival in the wild. Although the developers may have left out the name of this location in the game, they at least kept the loot somewhat worthwhile.
Hunter's Overlook Fellhammer Wastes is a serene yet exposed perch overlooking the rugged northern wilderness. Found northwest of Fort Fellhammer, this unmarked location is home to two hunters who have claimed this vantage point as their own. Perched high above the Shrine of Dibella, the Overlook offers a breathtaking view of Dawnstar and its surrounding tundra, blending natural beauty with absolute isolation. The stage is simple but suggestive, a very, very humble camp with the trappings of hunters making a living in Skyrim's untamable mountains. The hunter's presence adds a layer of life to the Overlook as it serves as both a temporary refuge and a place of observation, where they keep watch over the land and perhaps dwell in their internal solitude. The Hunter's Overlook offers a great view, particularly during heavy snowfall, but almost all overlooks in the game offer that, making this specific location nothing to go out of your way for. The Iceberg Explorer, found on a desolate iceberg directly north of the Tower Stone and marked by a raised flag fluttering in the icy wind, the Iceberg Explorer tells a fine and straightforward story of an adventurer who met their end in the chill of Skyrim's northern waters. Atop the iceberg lies the skeletal remains of the explorer, clutching the flag as though staking a claim or signaling for help that never arrived. Beside the skeleton is an unlocked chest and the heavy armor skill book, The Knights of the Nine, a cool reward for those who brave the frigid expanse to uncover this lonely outpost. The site's quiet desolation paired with the beauty of its surroundings makes it a worthy find for those randomly exploring out this way. If the skill book isn't enticing, at the base of the iceberg on the nearby shore, a corundum ore vein offers a practical incentive for exploration.
Found in a glacier crevasse just east of Snowvale Sanctum, this random remote site has a small smuggler stash hidden away in the icy confines of the Sea of Ghosts' rugged coastline. Try to say that 10 times fast. Even at a quick glance, the narrative of what happened here is pretty straightforward, as a hostile animal now prowls the area, showcasing that nature has reclaimed it. Nearby, you'll find the carcass of a dead Horker, and the centerpiece of the location is a lone chest, likely left behind in haste or as a temporary cache for robbed treasures, a dying memory of the smuggler's dangerous trade. Ill-gotten gains is a perfect example of Skyrim's ability to tie quick-minded stories through its landscape, daring us to be greedy and venture for the loot here, despite the creature that claims the treasure as its own. Mount Anthor Summit is a location that combines breathtaking views with fun little details and some hidden and not so hidden dangers. It's cozied up in the west of Mount Anthor. The summit can be accessed through Ironbind Barrow, where the exit leads to an otherworldly Dwemer monument mounted atop the snowy heights. Its origins are unclear, but the ancient structure has an allure to those who enjoy piecing together Skyrim's past. Surrounding the monument are two chests and a quicksilver ore vein, providing you rewards if you decide to venture out this way. However, the site is guarded by a pair of ice wraiths. Atop the tallest column on the monument lies an assortment of potions, which can only be accessed by utilizing the Whirlwind Sprint Shout. I always love when devs do this. It's like a little puzzle in the environment. The summit offers even more treasures for those who go further. Heading south, a worn and aged flag marks an outcrop with a satchel, a silver ore vein, and a regularly respawning helmet and weapon.
At the tippity top of a glacier southeast of the College of Winterhold lies Rundy's Altar. This mysterious site holds the sad story of Rundy, one of the missing apprentices from the college, whose fate is tied to the broken quest, The Missing Apprentices. Approaching the altar from the western pass reveals quite the scene, a summoning circle surrounded by 3 active frost runes ready to explode at the slightest misstep. At the center of the altar lies Rundy's named dagger, a reminder of his unfinished journey. Nearby, the alchemy skill book Mannimarco, King of Worms offers adventurers a chance to increase their alchemy skill, a small reward for facing the icy traps. The altar's remote setting, combined with the unsettlingness of it, is bizarre. Was it a failed experiment, a desperate attempt to harness forbidden magic, or something more evil that this place represents?
Tucked away in the snowy hills just northeast of Windhelm, this shrine, dedicated to Archay, the divine of life and death, sits between two ancient stone pillars, with its simplicity somehow both standing out and yet camouflaged within the mountains. On the small wooden table beneath the shrine, offerings of soul gems and snowberries are carefully placed, perhaps left by pilgrims or travelers seeking Archay's blessings. But the shrine's peace is not always guaranteed. On occasion, a seductive wisp mother and her ghostly wisps may appear, transforming this peaceful spot into a dangerous battleground. The wisp mother's presence adds a haunting coat to the location, where the divide between life and death, which is so central to Archay's domain, is thinner here than elsewhere. This is a graceful and solitary monument to the divine of beauty, love, and artistry. The shrine sits on a large raised platform south of Dawnstar, and it marks the edge of Winterhold Hold, standing as both a spiritual beacon and a symbolic boundary between the holds of Winterhold and the Pale. The altar itself is indifferent, befitting Debella's spirits and adorned with offerings that reflect her domain. On the altar rests the illusion skill book Incident in Necrum, a gift for those who take the time to find the lost shrine. You can also find a gold ore vein nearby. The shrine's elevated position offers a cool vantage point, as does many of the altars in this game, allowing you to gaze out over the landscape toward Dawnstar.
On a secluded sandbar behind the island that houses Ysgrammar's tomb, man, I probably botched that name. This shrine of Talos, marked by a two-tiered stone platform, displays a calm divine reverence with the tragic remains of a magical experiment gone horribly wrong. On the upper platform stands a shrine of Talos, the typical solemn shrine one would expect to find, finding a testament to the worship of the god of war and governance. Below, however, lies a nasty past, a skeever cage, the remnants of 4 dead skeevers, and the lifeless body of Ilas T, an Argonian mage and one of the missing apprentices from the College of Winterhold. Ilas, a student of Alteration, met his untimely end here while practicing his calm spell on the very creatures he had caged. Evidence of his ill-fated experiment surrounds him. 2 scrolls of calm, a scroll of fury, and the Alteration skillbook Breathing Water. Not much is left to the imagination as we clearly see a vivid story of ambition and miscalculation. It seems he sought to master the interplay of aggression and tranquility, using fury to incite conflict among the skeevers and calm to subdue them. But on this day, his spells faltered, and the consequences were fatal. His body holds a name necklace and a collection of alchemical ingredients, remnants of his promise as a student. Rest in peace. With only so many ways to describe a shrine as peaceful, this shrine is yet another peaceful hidden location in Skyrim along the icy expanse east of Pilgrim's Trench and near Trias' camp. As we just mentioned, Talos is the divine of war and governance. However, this shrine is now located amidst the Rim's northern coastline. Approaching the shrine, travelers find a decent arrangement of offerings: a satchel, a level weapon, and the one-handed skillbook The Importance of Wear, each a reward for those who take the time to explore. The shrine is accessible via a path that winds around the back of Talos' statue, a small invitation for adventurers to think on the strength and leadership embodied by the god it honors. The location's proximity to Trias' camp and Pilgrim's Trench meshes it into Skyrim's northern wilds, making it a waypoint for explorers navigating the frozen sea of ghosts. Shrine of Talos Winterhold Glaciers is an isolated landmark / waypoint shoved into the icy infinite east of Hobbs Fall Cave along the frozen encrusted shoreline. Located in the northeastern reaches of the map, west of Sarthal and north of Alftand, the shrine is as a quiet testament to devotion in one of the harshest corners of Tamriel. Set against the backdrop of the endless glaciers and frigid sea, the shrine features the typical Talos altar adorned with offerings. Here, adventurers will find leveled gold, scattered gear, and if you're into using 2 hands for your deeds, the 2-handed skillbook, Words and Philosophy is also found here, an unexpected reward for braving the frosty wilderness. Its unassuming presence and sparse treasures hint at the resilience of those who ventured here, whether in pilgrimage or solitude.
The Dead Refugees Avalanche Pass is along the treacherous road west of Whistling Mine, en route to Mount Anthor. You'll find the wreckage of a snowed-in cart that lies half buried in the icy drifts, surrounded by the lifeless bodies of 3 refugees whose journey came to a sad, sad end. As with any well-rounded hidden location in the game, the scene is very telling of a story, particularly a tragedy. You can find an apothecary's satchel, a coin purse, a level potion, and a battle axe. A collection of survival tools left behind by those who clearly did not survive. The cart also holds a treasure for the curious, the enchanting skill book Enchanter's Primer. And occasionally an avalanche may occur just before the site comes into view, which feels pretty unique to Skyrim. I can't really recall another time you'll see a random avalanche.
Trias's camp is based on a small, snow-covered island marking the entrance to Pilgrim's Trench in the presumably cold as fuck Sea of Ghosts. The camp, little more than a few simple belongings and the skeletal remains of its lone occupant, tells a quiet and desperate story of longing and loss. Across the island, a larger landmass holds a Shrine of Talos, adding the touch of reverence a place like this deserves. At the heart of the camp lies a note titled, "For Shelley," a message left by Trias for a companion who was never destined to arrive. Trias waited in vain for Shelley, whose ship never reached Skyrim shores, a heartbreaking testament to the brutal realities of Tamriel's northern seas. The sparse details, a skeleton, the note, and the camp itself invite the imagination to fill in the gaps of a story that Bethesda originally intended to expand with a questline that was ultimately cut from the game. The camp's forlornness is underscored by its lonely location, often patrolled by snowy saber cats that heighten the sense of danger. The nearby Shrine of Talos serves as a symbolic counterpoint, its quiet strength looming with the vulnerability of the lone camper who perished waiting for hope that never came. Wismother's Crevasse is placed in an icy gorge north of Journeyman's Nook. This hidden layer is home to a Wismother, one of Skyrim's more enigmatic foes, accompanied by her spectral wisps that drift spookily through the frozen air. The setting itself amplifies the otherworldly presence of the Wismother. The crevice, framed by towering icebergs and bathed in a pale ghostly light, feels like a place untouched by time, or maybe frozen in time, isolated, chilling, and strangely beautiful. The silence of the icy wilderness is broken only by the Wismother's haunting calls and the faint, unsettling hum of her attendant wisps. Battling the Wismother within this confined, icy domain tests both combat and strategic thinking, as her spectral abilities and the presence of her wisps create a formidable encounter. If going to a Mother's Crevasse is your thing, I'd recommend paying it a visit.
Skyrim devs clearly love placing hidden locations on remote shorelines, like this one, where Ysra's beachside combustion is along the remote shoreline of the Sea of Ghosts, south and slightly east of Yngvild. This isolated stretch of the beach bears the ends of the catastrophic experiment conducted by Ysra, one of the missing apprentices from the College of Winterhold, whose fate is tied to the unfinished questline, The Missing Apprentices. We did a whole video on this quest, and it's pretty cool. I'd check it out. At the heart of the shoreline lies Ysra's charred body, a sign of her failed flame cloak spell experiment going awry. Beside her remains, you can find the flame cloak spell tome, which is a valuable reward. And also you'll find Ysra's necklace, a unique item that's tied to her story. Ysra's ambition came at the cost of her pursuit for power, and Ysra wasn't the only student seeking out power to the cost of her life. Like I said, you'll find a few stories similar to this one in an unfinished quest for Skyrim.
Wet Bones. Based on the name, would you guess this location contains a skeleton? Wet Bones is atop a glacier just west of Sarthal. Perched in the frigid, windswept expanse, this site screams a whispering, severe story through its sparse details. The half-buried skeleton of a person lies alongside the remnants of an elk, their final moments forever frozen in time. Beside the bones rests a Dwemer chest, its ancient design a shining beacon to the organic remains scattered around it. The chest contains varied loot, offering somewhat of a reward for those who venture in this remote spot. This location got me thinking, was the skeleton a treasure hunter, an unlucky traveler, or a victim of the harsh sleet and snow? As with any den, this den is inside a rocky alcove just northwest of Fort Fellhammer. This unmarked site is home to a pack of wolves, their howls echoing ominously throughout the surrounding wilderness. The den itself is little more than a rugged hollow carved out into the rocks. Amidst the remains of the wolves' prey lies the body of a fallen bandit, asking us to speculate if the bandit was looking for refuge on a fateful cold night, or was simply ambushed by these furry hounds. Hidden in the wilderness of Skyrim, southeast of Sleeping Tree Camp, lies an unmarked location known as the Bloodied Box. Tucked away in a cluster of bushes, an apprentice-leveled strongbox quietly awaits discovery. However, this is no ordinary treasure cache. A skeletal arm, frozen in a desperate grasp, reaches toward the box. The ground around it is stained with dry blood, a marker of past violence. What tragic fate befell the victim here? No journal, note, or relic offers any sense of clarity. It is a place where imagination fills in the blanks, where each dragonborn who stumbles upon it is left to speculate. But the stillness of the site does not last long. Once the box is opened, two wolves, as if guardians of the forgotten dead, leap out to ambush the unsuspecting adventurer. This sudden burst of violence implies that the mysteries of the bloodied box are not meant to be disturbed. Interestingly, this location plays a subtle role in the Balance of Power questline, where the Dragonborn must confront the Saints bandit leader near the southern side of the box. Perhaps these bandits, drawn by rumors of treasure or tragedy, have claimed the area as their own.
Southwest of Sleeping Tree Camp, an ancient dragon mound sits in the rolling plains, shaped like a massive earthen henge. These burial sites scattered across Skyrim are remnants of the dragon cult's reign, marking the resting places of dragons sealed away long ago. To most, they seem like simple hills, but they hold a far greater significance, waiting for the right moment to stir once more. We've covered these extensively in our videos, so I won't dive too deep into the lore or the background. Northeast of Swindler's Den, another dragon mound rests on a rugged slope, hidden in plain sight. This is known as the Lone Mountain Mound, and it has remained undisturbed for centuries, a silent monument to long-forgotten wars between mortals and dragons. But like all mounds tied to Alduin, its slumber is temporary, waiting for the moment it will once again serve its dark purpose.
In the wilds of Skyrim, just south of Hilgrun's tomb, nature and danger converge at the awe-inspiring Fallen Tree Bridge. Stretching across a deep gorge carved by roaring river rapids, this massive fallen tree serves as a precarious bridge. Its gnarled, ancient limbs jut outward like skeletal fingers, as if warning passerbys of the peril ahead. Yet despite its foreboding presence, the bridge conceals treasures and mysteries that lure adventurers to its heights. The natural formation is a dangerous crossing point. Bandits often stake their claim to the strategic location, with one typically lounging on the trunk itself and another lurking near the stump at the gorge's edge. These opportunists rely on the treacherous drop below to deter would-be challengers. But for those daring enough to venture across, rewards await. Near the northern stump of the tree, hidden beneath its sprawling roots, lies an adept-locked chest brimming with random loot. Behind it, tucked in a shadowed recess, rests the illusion skill book, The Black Arts on Trial. This book, a trial record of an illusionist accused of dark deeds, whispers tales of manipulation and deception, fitting for such an ominous location. However, loot is not the only danger or intrigue here. Adventurers may encounter a necromancer's work. The vibrant otherworldly creature stands as a guardian to the secrets hidden near the bridge, ready to scorch any who underestimate its power. Further down the river, beyond the rapids, lies a grim discovery. A lifeless body washed ashore, a victim of either the deadly currents or the bandits above. Paths from both sides of the valley lead to this place, each step bringing the Dragonborn closer to the boundary between natural beauty and mortal peril.
In a shallow dip southwest of Swindler's Den, Fetid Pond is as eerie as its name suggests. The water sits unnaturally still, almost like it's hiding something beneath its murky surface. Scattered around the edges are massive mammoth bones that jut out from the mud, bleached by time and weather. Near the water's edge, a dead bandit lies among the reeds, his last moments lost to mystery. Among his belongings is a copy of Beggar, a book that teaches pickpocketing. An ironic touch considering he seems to have stolen nothing but his own misfortune. Whether he was taken down by the dangers of the wild or something more sinister is anyone's guess.
West of Broken Fang Cave, in a quiet and unassuming pond between the cave and the monument, lies one of Skyrim's most peculiar wonders. Emerging from the water's edge is the titanic, fossilized carcass of a giant mud crab, its petrified limbs outstretched as though frozen mid-battle. Time has long since turned this ancient creature to stone, yet its presence commands reverence. It is as though this forgotten titan watches over the pond, a sentinel from a bygone age. While the fossil remains inert, its legacy is far from dead. Smaller, living mud crabs scuttle across the shallow waters, as though mini guardians of their immense ancestors' final resting place. Despite their mundane appearance, these hardy creatures are territorial and will not hesitate to defend their domain. Adjacent to the pond, a smaller den holds further curiosities. Within, a skeletal figure lies crumpled near a sword and shield, perhaps the remnants of an adventurer who dared to explore the site. This location gains even greater significance during the Sacred Trials, a quest that calls upon the Dragonborn to hunt down Skyrim's legendary beasts. It is here that the Guardian Mud Crab, a creature far larger and more fearsome than any of its kin, will manifest. Some believe that this colossal spirit is none other than the spectral echo of the fossilized giant, risen from death to once again defend its watery domain. Whether drawn here by curiosity or divine duty, the Dragonborn must contend with both the remnants of the past and the challenges of the present. In Skyrim, even a pond of mud crabs can tell a story older than the mountains themselves. High in the remote mountain ridges west of Drelis's cottage lies a moment frozen in time, a story of both triumph and tragedy. Here, in the shadow of towering cliffs and jagged rocks, the Dragonborn may stumble upon the remains of a hunter, his lifeless body sprawled across the cold earth. The scene speaks to the ruthless balance of nature in Skyrim, where predator and prey often blur into one. Who was the true hunter in this case? Was the beast ambushed and driven to desperation? Or did it stalk the hunter in a cruel twist of fate? These questions linger as the wind whispers through the pines, carrying the faint echoes of a struggle now long past. Despite the death-ridden atmosphere, the hunter's body holds valuable spoils for those who enjoy scavenging the dead. And this is Skyrim, so we all enjoy scavenging the dead. Among his belongings is a copy of The Refugees, a skill book that teaches the art of light armor, perhaps a testament to this reliance on agility and defense in this rough terrain. His other gear, though worn and bloodied, may still offer some utility to the resourceful adventurer if needed at the time of looting. For every adventurer who conquers the wild, there are countless others who meet their end in its unforgiving embrace. The story of the hunter and his adversary is a cautionary tale, a warning etched into the stones and bones of the landscape.
West of Whiterun, near Bleakwind Basin, there's a quiet little spring hiding something straight out of legend. In the middle of the water, a skeletal hand juts out, gripping a sword like some tribute to the Lady of Lake from Arthurian myth. But in Skyrim, there's no mystical guardian, just a long-dead warrior whose name and fate are lost to time. If you take the sword, the hand crumbles, finally letting go after who knows how many years. All that's left are scattered bones sinking to the bottom of the pond, a quiet end to whatever story this warrior once lived. It's a cool little spot and Easter egg.
In the shadow of Skyrim's ancient past, overlooking the plains west of Fort Greymore and northeast of the puzzling Pillar Ruins, lies a forsaken altar known as the Necrophiliac's Bluff. Kidding, this isn't a Jeffrey Dahmer skit. This site is known as the Necromancer's Bluff. The scene that greets travelers here is grimly ironic. A necromancer sprawled lifeless across the altar is surrounded by the shattered remains of 3 skeletons. It seems the very forces he sought to control turned against him, his ambitions undone by the dark art he dared to wield. The altar is quite a display, scattered with alchemy ingredients as if remnants of an unfinished ritual. At its heart lies Liminal Bridges, a skill book on conjuration, showing the necromancer's desperate attempts to tear open the boundaries between realms. The book, a testament to his knowledge, now rests as a silent teacher for any who dare follow in his footsteps. Yet the dangers of necromancy are clearly etched into this place. The skeletons, perhaps former servants or thralls, appear to have risen in revolt, leaving the would-be master slain on his own altar. It is a classic cautionary tale one would expect and hope to find when playing the game. In bone and blood, a warning that those who toy with life and death may fall victim to their own creations. The landscape around Necromancer's Bluff adds further layers to the story. To the west, a solitary mammoth roams near a pond where mud crabs scuttle along the water's edge. This difference of serene wildlife and supernatural tragedy underscores Skyrim's complex beauty, where danger and wonder coexist in every corner. Northeast of the bluff, 3 unmarked graves lie in quiet obscurity. Who these souls were and whether they share a connection to the necromancer's ill-fated ritual remains a mystery, one lost to the passing of time.
Near the quiet village of Rorikstead, an ancient dragon stirs beneath the earth, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Buried for centuries, Nahagliv, whose name means fury, burn, wither, was once sealed away by dragon slayers of old. But during the events of Alduin's Wall, peace shatters as Alduin himself descends upon the burial mound, speaking words of power that shake the ground. In an instant, the seal breaks and Nahagliv bursts from his grave, reborn in fire and fury. For the people of Rorikstead, this isn't just some distant legend. It's a nightmare unfolding before their eyes. As the massive dragon takes flight, his roar echoes across the plains. I wanted to make this sound more epic, but it's really just another dragon mound.
Southwest of Fort Amel, on a desperate mountain pass that winds southward toward Iverstead, lie the remnants of an old Imperial toll station, a monument to Skyrim's long-lasting infrastructure. Once a checkpoint controlling trade and travel along this treacherous route, the toll station has fallen into ruin. The dirt path from Iverstead leads across a river and through the wooded eastern slopes of the Throat of the World, eventually revealing the rusted iron gate of the station, now toppled and half buried. Time and decay, however, are not the only forces that linger here. The Dragonborn, upon approaching the ruins, may be greeted by 3 ghostly wisps, silent and seemingly harmless at first. However, these spectral lights serve as tollers for a deadly presence that dwells nearby. Just uphill from the ruins, within a shadowy ancient well, resides a Wisp Mother, a being of frost and malice. The Wisp Mother is a fearsome adversary, capable of summoning more wisps to confuse and overwhelm her foes. Her otherworldly form, encased in an aura of icy light, implies that she has haunted these hills for many generations. Only the brave or foolish dare confront her. After a hard-fought victory, the Dragonborn can scour the ruins for hidden treasures. Among the crumbling stones and moss-covered debris lies a basket concealing the Conjuration's skill book, The Warrior's Charge, which tells of magical combat and summoning. Beneath the basket, a locked strongbox holds further rewards for those skilled enough to crack it open. Once a symbol of Imperial order and control, the toll station has long since fallen to the wilderness, its ruins reclaimed by supernatural forces. Southeast of Sleeping Tree Camp lies a curious site known as the Puzzling Pillar Ruins. Hidden along a rough path winding through the wilderness, this ancient ruin beckons the adventurous with its strange standing stones and an enigmatic puzzle of Nordic design. The stones encircle a caved-in structure, where a closed grate guards a spiral staircase descending into forgotten depths. At the heart of the puzzle are 3 Nordic pillars, each engraved with animal symbols: a whale, a hawk, and a snake. The symbols provide the key to unlocking the ruins, but the solution is not immediately apparent. To solve the puzzle, explorers must inspect the stones nearby. One symbol remains fixed to its pillar, while the other 2 have fallen to the ground over the years. By rotating the pillars so the symbols match their respective stones, the Dragonborn can align them with the arrow at each pillar's base. Once set correctly, activating the handle releases the grate with a satisfying rumble. Descending the now accessible staircase reveals a skeleton resting amid the ruins, perhaps the remains of a previous adventurer who failed to solve the puzzle. Nearby, a locked chest awaits, its contents a reward for the Dragonborn's ingenuity. Among the potential treasures is a copy of a hypothetical treachery, a conjuration skillbook that gives insight into Skyrim's complex relationship with magical summoning and deceit. Interestingly, this book will respawn if taken, though items stored within the chest remain safe, even for several in-game months, making this a rare, secure storage location. Who built this place and for what purpose? Was it a tomb, a treasure vault, or something else entirely? The local map intriguingly names the area Barley Dark Farm, hinting that the ruins may have once stood near lost settlements.
North of Rorikstead, perched on the ridge, stands a shrine of Akatosh. It's a peaceful spot, offering a stunning view of the golden fields below and the tundra stretching beyond. Despite its simplicity, the shrine holds a few hidden treasures. A copy of Kolben the Dragon sits nearby, and dragon scales can also be found here, possibly left as offerings to Akatosh, the dragon god of time. From this high vantage point, Rorikstead looks calm and untouched. It's a very calming location. North of Brokenfang Cave and east of Euchre's Monument, the crumbling bastion is a ruined fort that now serves as a quiet shrine to Zenithar, the divine of labor and commerce. The walls have long since collapsed, but the shrine remains standing. It's an isolated, peaceful spot where travelers and pilgrims might pause to reflect. At the center of the ruin, the shrine sits on a simple altar, surrounded by small offerings. 2 silver ingots rest beside it, likely left by merchants or blacksmiths hoping for Zenithar's blessing. A satchel nearby holds the belongings of a past traveler, and the speech skillbook 2920 Second Seed V5 sits on the altar. There's also a locked chest on the fort's rooftop, reachable with a bit of careful climbing.
West of Swindler's Den, secluded in the arid plains of Skyrim, lies a formation, an unassuming ring of boulders encircling a shrine of Zenithar. Unlike grand temples or fortified altars, this shrine is a minimalist ode to the divine of commerce and labor. Its remote location means that it may have once served as a sacred waypoint for travelers and merchants navigating the wilds, a place for prayer, for prosperity, and protection before continuing their journey. The shrine stands alone under the vast Skyrim sky, surrounded only by the quiet whispers of the wind and the occasional rustle of desert grasses. In contrast to Zenithar's usual association with abundance and wealth, the offerings here are more simplistic in nature. A single coin purse rests near the shrine, a small symbolic gesture perhaps left by a humble traveler seeking the god's favor. Though the site is sparse, its simplicity speaks volumes. Zenithar's blessings are often earned through diligence and patience, qualities that resonate in the barren landscape around the shrine. Here, amid the timeless stones, the Dragonborn can reflect on the virtues of hard work and self-reliance. There are no riches to be claimed, only the quiet assurance that effort and faith may yield greater rewards down the road.
North of White River, perched on the rocky bluff, stands the Shrine of Talos, a powerful reminder of the god's lasting influence in Skyrim. Despite the ban on his worship, offerings still gather at its base. Flowers, trinkets, and tokens left by those willing to risk everything for their beliefs. From this spot, the view stretches over the valley below, with the river winding through the plains. This shrine plays a key role in Jarl Elisif's quest, as she asks the Dragonborn to place High King Torig's warhorn here in honor of her late husband. The task is more than just a tribute. It's a symbolic act, one that defies the White Gold Concordat and the Empire's concession to the Thalmor, who, by the way, actively patrol the area. If they catch you paying respects at the shrine, things can turn hostile fast.
Hidden just northwest of Dragon's Reach, beneath a small cliff outside Whiterun's protective walls, lies the Smuggler's Den. This makeshift camp, cobbled together by a group of opportunistic bandits, is both a hideout and a hub for illegal dealings. Despite its proximity to the city, the den operates under the nose of Whiterun's guards, its presence concealed by the disjointed terrain and the bandits' cunning. At first glance, the camp seems deceptively quiet. Crates and barrels filled with contraband, most notably several bottles of skooma, are scattered around the site. A weathered cooking pot simmers at the campfire, giving knowledge that the bandits have made this place their home, yet danger lurks in the shadows. Once the Dragonborn engages with the locked chest near the camp, 3 more bandits spring from hiding, intent on protecting their stash at any cost. Among the camp's notable items is a table holding a pickpocket skill book recounting the tale of a hero from ancient Solstheim. The story, perhaps a favorite of these thieves, is a symbolic nod to their life of stealth and opportunism. In the back of a wagon near the camp, a leveled battle axe lies waiting, a weapon left either as a trap or an overlooked piece of loot. The den also features a readable smuggler's note, insight into the bandits' operations and their reliance on skooma smuggling to survive. Meanwhile, the camp's lone horse, likely stolen, stands tethered nearby. After dealing with the bandits, the horse becomes rideable, offering us both a prize and a means of quick escape. Interestingly, this location shares its name with a smuggler's den found on an island in the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. Whether this is mere coincidence or a deliberate reference remains a mystery, but the connection adds a layer of continuity to Tamriel's history of smuggling and criminal enterprise. In the plains north of Sleeping Tree Camp lies a strange sight. A massive mammoth skeleton, its colossal ribcage looming like a natural monument to the brutal cycles of life and death. But a closer look reveals an even more peculiar detail. Nestled within the ribcage of the mammoth is a second skeleton, the remains of a human encased within the ancient beast's skeletal frame. This scene raises more questions than it does answers. How did this bizarre outcome come to be? Was the human perhaps trapped and crushed during a desperate struggle with the mammoth? Or did they seek refuge inside the decaying carcass, only to meet their end from exposure or starvation? The truth is lost to time, leaving only the bones that tell a fragmented story. The skeletal mammoth, its tusks now weathered and brittle, stretch outward as though preserved in a final act of defiance. Once a towering force of Skyrim's tundra, the beast now serves as a resting place.
East of Talking Stone Camp, downstream along the river, in the middle of a tranquil pond, a lifeless alchemist rests on a cluster of rocks, surrounded by the very nature they once studied. With a waterfall cascading nearby and Nirnroot glowing at the water's edge, it seems like they were drawn here in search of rare ingredients. But something went wrong. Their belongings suggest a life dedicated to alchemy. A leveled ingredient and a dagger rest with them, showing they were prepared for both gathering and survival. But Skyrim is unforgiving, even for the most skilled wanderers. Maybe they slipped on the wet rocks, got caught in the river's current, or were ambushed by something lurking nearby. Whatever happened, the alchemist has now become a part of the world they once sought to understand. Northwest of Fort Greymoor, you can find a skeleton, its bony fingers still clutching a strongbox. Whatever fate befell this traveler, they held onto their treasure even in death, unwilling to let it go. You'll usually find an animal prowling nearby, probably the reason why this guy is dead. Maybe they were chased into the hills, hoping the rough terrain would offer safety. Or perhaps the beast just claimed the area later, making it part of its hunting ground. Either way, the skeleton and the predator now share this lonely stretch of land. The strongbox can hold a bunch of random loot, and it's always different, so I guess we'll never know who this person really was.
Southeast of Swindler's Den, between Rorikstead and Fort Greymore, 2 weathered stone columns rise from the rugged landscape, silent remnants of a long-forgotten structure. Known simply as the 2 Pillars, these ruins stand in rocky defiance of time and nature. At their center, atop a large rock, rests a shrine dedicated to Stendar, the divine of mercy, justice, and righteous might. The shrine's offerings tell of pilgrims who once journeyed into this desolate place. A flawless gem glitters atop the altar, left perhaps by a traveler seeking Stendar's protection or blessing. A locked strongbox nearby holds further treasures, a reward for those skilled enough to unlock it. Most notably, the enchanting skill book Twin Secrets can be found on the altar, offering knowledge on the mysteries of magical enhancement. Though serene at first glance, the area is far from safe. The 2 Pillars sit within a herding ground for giants and their massive mammoth companions. These ancient guardians of the plains roam peacefully, unless provoked, maintaining their timeless bond with the land. However, the true danger here lies in the roaming saber cats that stalk the foothills, their presence a constant threat to unwary adventurers. The nearby wilderness is rich with mystery. To the west, 2 additional unmarked shrines to Zenithar can be found, hinting that this region once held religious significance. Perhaps these shrines were part of a forgotten pilgrimage route, long abandoned and reclaimed by nature and myth.
Before we jump into Solstheim, I just wanted to say that we're only covering a handful here. We may do a full video on Solstheim in the future, but most of the locations here are pretty mid, so we just chose a few that stood out. North of Frossel and Hacknir Shoal is a triangle of islands, and northwest of them is a dragon mound. Yes, another dragon mound. But this one's cool because it's on Solstheim. Maybe it's one of those eel-looking dragons that look like fell beasts from Lord of the Rings. Giant Nirnru Island is a small unmarked location off the northeastern coast of Solstheim, directly north of Frossel. This rocky isle is home to something rare, 6 giant Nirnru plants. These might feel familiar if you're an avid Oblivion fan, as they're a callback to the giant Nirnru Easter egg, which is found in that game. We covered that in our 101 random Oblivion facts video. Obvious plug, but that vid is awesome, so you should go watch it. 3 leveled Spriggans inhabit the area, and judging by the dead Dunmer alchemist nearby, they don't take kindly to visitors. The unfortunate alchemist's boat rests on the shore, carrying a few small lootable items, a sign that they were likely here in search of rare ingredients. A search that ended in, well, you know, it's not good.
A rocky isle off the northern coast of Solstheim, directly north of Hacknir Shoal, is home to a medium-sized Reekling camp, where a group of Reeklings have staked their claim, turning the island into their own little outpost. The camp is fairly simple, but like most Reekling settlements, it's scattered with makeshift structures, crude weapons, and whatever odd trinkets they've collected. Anyone wandering too close will invoke their little wrath. Reeklings may be small, but they're quick, aggressive, and always attack in groups. The island offers loot and supplies, but more than anything, it's another glimpse into the strange and territorial world of Solstheim's Reeklings. The Miner's Lament is a small camp west of Brodier Grove, marked by an unfortunate scene. A Dunmer miner lies lifeless beneath a tipped-over cart, seemingly crushed in a tragic accident while hauling gold ore. Whatever his plans were, they were ended here, buried beneath the very riches he sought. The site holds valuable resources. 2 emerald geodes and gold ore veins can be mined, while 5 loose gold ore pieces sit near the wrecked cart. A locked strongbox with random loot offers an additional reward, and some food supplies may be also found nearby. I'm sure you can make a good metaphor about greed being the end of you using this scenario, but I can't currently think of one. Gold Miner's Floodgate, also known as Usha's Camp, is located in the mountains north of Ashfallow Citadel. Following the stream will lead to a blocked wooden gate, but with some careful jumping around the rocks, you can slip past it and into the secluded camp. Inside, the tragic fate of an Argonian named Usha, I believe that's how you say the name, is revealed. His lifeless body lies near a table covered in empty skooma bottles, proposing that maybe addiction played a role in his downfall. A letter found beside him offers a glimpse into his past. Near the stream, a large plate sits on the ground, likely used as a makeshift gold pan, and several pieces of gold ore rest nearby, probably his desperate attempts to find fortune.
Dusty the Siltstrider is a remarkable site on Solstheim, found just west of Tel Mithrin near the riverbanks. She's the last known silt strider on the island, a rare remnant of a nearly extinct species. Her owner, Revis Sarvani, discovered her as a cocoon in Vardenfell, after the eruption of Red Mountain wiped out most of her kind. He raised her to adulthood, but now she's too old and weak to travel. Dusty remains here with Revis staying by her side until her final days. For those who visit, Revis offers some insight into Morrowind's history and the tragic fate of the Silt Striders. There's also a copy of a short history of Morrowind that can be found at the camp for even more context. Dusty herself is what devs call a movable static rather than a creature, making her a permanent fixture of this landscape. Even from a distance, Dusty's low, mournful cries can be heard echoing across the southeastern end of Solstheim, a reminder of a world that has nearly faded away.
The altar in the woods hidden north of Autumnshade Clearing is a mysterious and ancient site nestled amidst the ruins of an old Dwemer structure. This secluded location is characterized by a circle of imposing archways, beneath which a mage has set up a peculiar altar. The mage, likely driven by arcane pursuits, will attack any intruders on sight, because this is Skyrim and lone mages tend to be testy. Scattered across the area are remnants of Dwemer craftsmanship, pieces of metal, and an empty Dwemer convector, hinting at the lost civilization's once great technological advances. A locked cage stands inside one of the arches, its contents a secret waiting to be unlocked by a skilled thief. Among the mage's belongings are valuable items, including a skill book which offers insight into the ancient restoration arts, and fire salts, useful for various magical concoctions.
Skyrim's border crossings are pretty quiet and out of the way, usually found where the terrain gets rough and travel becomes a challenge. They're mostly just lonely gates, standing empty without any guards or signs of life, making them feel more like forgotten landmarks than actual border points. There are 4 crossings in total that connect Skyrim to neighboring provinces. 2 lead into Morrowind, 1 heads south to Cyrodiil, and the last one points towards Hammerfell. They're scattered across the province, 2 in Falkreath Hold, another in Eastmarch, and 1 in the Rift. Despite their potential to link Skyrim with the outside world, these crossings are mostly abandoned, quietly marking the edges of the province with little to no activity.
Located southwest of Darkwater Pass is a hidden spot of intrigue, tucked away along a path that climbs toward Ivarstead. At first glance, the area appears simple, with a few scattered barrels and an empty sack, but it holds treasures for the keen-eyed adventurer. Among the scattered items is a skill book that enhances one's ability in pickpocketing. Nearby, an ore vein can be mined, adding a touch of utility to the location for those seeking precious materials. Situated just north of a water slide chest, this stash serves as a quiet, almost forgotten corner of Skyrim, where a mix of resources and knowledge awaits discovery by those who venture off the beaten path. It's a small, notable find for those exploring the area. The dead Khajiit merchant lies at the base of a cascading waterfall, beneath the waters that feed a stream near Broken Helm Hollow. To find the body, one must venture down the road from Tumbledown Tower, crossing a bridge that spans the stream. Here, at the water's edge, the lifeless form of the Khajiit is a clear sign to a tragic end, likely at the hands of bandits who occupy the hollow above. Whether thrown down in a brutal act or having fallen while attempting to flee, the merchant's demise is a sad story. Among the remnants of his unfortunate journey, a coin purse containing loose gold coins can be found. Additionally, near the waterfall, an ore vein lies exposed. I guess this pussy ran out of his 9 lives. Northeast of Angervun, amid the wilderness, the lifeless body of a Redguard lies slumped over a tree stump. The sight of his still form suggests a brutal end, though the specifics of his demise remain a mystery. Beneath him rests a valuable discovery, a skill book titled Advances in Lockpicking, offering those who find it a chance to sharpen their thieving abilities. This small scene speaks to the dangers of Skyrim's untamed landscapes, where even the most skilled individuals can fall victim to the harsh realities of the world.
The Dragon Mound in Autumnshade Woods is an ancient burial site west of Autumnshade Clearing. This mound lies dormant until the pivotal moment during the Bleak Falls Barrow quest, when it reveals its secrets to the Dragonborn. Like other dragon mounds across Skyrim, it serves as the final resting place for a mighty dragon, its bones resting beneath the earth in silent vigils.
Located to the north of Froki's Shack is a solemn site that holds the remains of a long-dead dragon. Unlike many other mounds scattered across Skyrim, this one lies dormant until the events of Diplomatic Immunity, when it unexpectedly awakens. As the quest unfolds, the mound's secrets are revealed, and the Dragonborn is drawn into a fateful encounter with the resurrected dragon. The location itself is quiet and weathered, making it very similar to all other dragon mounds in this province.
Located southeast of the Shadowstone, Lost Tongue Pass is more than just another dragon burial site. It's packed with history, maybe even more than most other mounds. This spot stays untouched until the diplomatic immunity quest kicks in, and when it does, it's a pretty big deal. According to the Atlas of Dragons, this mound is believed to be where Odahviing was buried before his return to the skies. The book places his tomb somewhere near Riften, making this location even more significant. When the mound finally opens, it sets off a crucial moment in the Dragonborn's adventure, bringing a long-lost dragon back to life right before the Fallen quest. But Odahviing's connection isn't the only thing that makes this place stand out. Lost Tongue Pass even makes an appearance in the Elder Scrolls Online, though in that it's also an unmarked location. It also happens to be near the spot shown on the Rift Treasure Map 6. You gotta love Odahviing. He's like our own first pet dragon.
The Frost Troll Den at Gerald Mountain Ridge, located to the east of Stendarr's Beacon, is a blistering cold and haunting place where the remnants of a brutal struggle can still be felt. A blood trail leads adventurers towards the lair of a formidable frost troll, marking the path with the sign of the creature's recent hunt. The den itself sits in a secluded corner of the northeastern edge of Skyrim, hidden among jagged rocks and a busted landscape. As you approach, a solitary flag flutters atop a rocky ledge, a faint marker for what lies nearby. Beneath the flag, the body of a wolf can be found, accompanied by some leveled gear, an offering of sorts to the treacherous creature that roams these parts. Among the items left behind, a Dance in Fire Book 2, a skill book for Block, can be found, perhaps tucked beneath the dead wolf. Additionally, a locked strongbox, which requires some skill to open, holds its own secrets, and a silver ore vein can be mined nearby, offering a glimpse of the natural riches that still hide in these perilous mountains.
Southwest of Last Vigil, the Forest Stash is a hidden little gem for those who like to stray from the main roads. Behind a fallen tree trunk, you'll find a set of iron armor and a copy of Halgurd's Tale, a heavy armor skill book packed with lessons on resilience and strength. The armor is a bit worn with age, but it's still a solid find for anyone in need of extra protection in the early game. The stash is easy to miss if you're not paying attention. It blends pretty seamlessly into the forest surroundings. You'd probably miss it if you were just strolling by casually. Nestled southeast of Autumnshade Clearing, you'll find the Hunter's Camp in the Autumnshade Hills. Two hunters call this place home, using it as a quiet outpost where they can trade furs and arrows. The smell of campfire smoke drifts through the air, and the sounds of the surrounding forest make it feel like the perfect retreat from the chaos of Skyrim. If you poke around the camp, you'll find a knapsack with some leftover supplies from the hunter's travels. But the real treasure is inside one of the tents, a copy of the Gold Ribbon of Merit, an archery skill book that can help sharpen your aim. There's a bit of a bittersweet touch to this camp though. It's likely connected to the unfortunate hunters found at the Autumnshade Clearing, their journey cut short before they could return to their peaceful hideaway.
This camp near the Nordic tomb of Angervund is a quiet, unmarked location where the mercenary makes her base of operations. The camp, which serves as her temporary refuge, sits amidst the rocky surroundings of the tomb, a place filled with the dangers of the wandering dead. It is here that the mercenary, accompanied by her other mercenaries, seeks to rid the nearby dungeon of its inhabitants, a task that the Dragonborn may be called to assist with. At the camp, the mercenaries' personal belongings are scattered about, including a Dance in Fire, a skill book that enhances one's speech, and of course the mercenaries' notes, which offers insight into her plans for the dungeon ahead. Behind a desk near some jagged rocks, a silver ore vein can be found. For those who explore further, a path leading up to the mountains reveals a locked strongbox, containing a few leveled potions, another hint at the mercenaries' preparation for the dangers that lie within. There are plenty of unmarked camps around the province, but this one feels a little more special than several of the others we've covered. The Northwind Chest, posted south of Northwind Summit, is a secluded treasure hidden on a narrow ledge descending from the mountain. This intriguing location is marked by the remains of two skeletons, deceased witnesses to the harsh fate that likely befell those who ventured too close to the edge. But at least they had the courage to look for this treasure. Amidst the rocky outcroppings, a novice-locked chest awaits discovery, giving rewards to those skilled enough to break its seal.
If you're wandering northeast of Riften, you might come across the Shrine of Zenithar, quietly sitting in the ruins of a crumbling tower right off a busy road. It's tucked away past the three sentinels. The place isn't exactly safe, with predators lurking around, so it's best to stay on your guard when you're checking it out. If you take a closer look around the ruins, you'll spot a skeleton, probably someone who didn't have the best of luck out here. But there's more to find. Keep an eye out for a small satchel and a coin purse hiding nearby. There's also an amulet of Zenithar, a nice little artifact tied to the god of commerce. Whether you're in it for faith or you're just looking to boost your trade skills, it's a solid find. Now this one's a bit of a trek. The Shrine of Talos at Froki's Peak is hidden away south of Froki's shack, perched along a steep, winding mountain path. Honestly, it's in a pretty ridiculous spot, but hey, that's Skyrim. And plus, that just makes it even better. To get there, you'll have to climb past Autumn Watch Tower and Froki's little rustic hut, but if you're up for the challenge, it's worth the effort. Once you finally reach the shrine, it's a peaceful little hideaway dedicated to Talos, blending right into the landscape. And while it might seem humble at first glance, there's actually some cool stuff lying around. You can pick up an Imperial helmet, a light shield, and a sword. These give us a little taste of the history that might have occurred here. There's also the Amulet of Kings, a religious tome, and a copy of King, a skill book that helps boost your two-handed weapon skills. Throw in a satchel and a handful of septum scattered about, and it'll soften the blow a bit for taking that climb. Plus, I say it all the time in these videos, it's not really the loot people care about in these places. It's just rewarding having all these small locations littered around the map that you can stumble into. It really increases the immersion factor, at least for me.
Found in the southern reaches of Skyrim, near the foot of the Gerald Mountains and east of Lost Tongue Overlook, lies the tragic tale of a failed magical experiment. This desolate site, consumed by flames, appears to have been the scene of a botched attempt to summon a flame Daedra. The summoning circle, etched in the dirt, testifies of the farmer's ambitions, while the charred remains of the farmer, clutching a scroll, peer into the tragic outcome. The house itself, though ravaged by fire, still holds items of interest. Inside, an unlocked chest contains various loot, though the real treasure lies just outside. Beneath a hollow fallen tree nearby, a skill book for destruction can be found hidden away, proving insight into the dark arts of magic. Once the farmhouse is discovered, occasionally an enemy can be found nearby, northwest of the ruins and just below the Shadow Stone. If left undisturbed, this Daedra will eventually die on its own, as conjured creatures often do, leaving behind fire salts. Are you a fan of chickens? If so, south of Lake Gear and near the ruins of Gearman's Hall is an odd and rather unsettling sight. Here, atop a cluster of rocks, a novice necromancer can be found practicing his dark arts on the most unlikely of subjects, dead chickens. The necromancer, seemingly intent on reanimating these creatures, performs his ritual with a bizarre focus, leaving behind the remnants of his wicked experiment. Among the scattered items at the site, a few ingredients and a soul gem can be found, adding to the sense of dark experimentation. Interestingly, it is rumored that if the necromancer meets his end, removing the chicken egg from the nest atop the altar could cause one of the deceased chickens to rise once more, thus creating a zombie chicken. For those interested in the arcane, the Conjuration Skillbook 2920 Frostfall V10 can be found on the Necromancer's body, sipping insight into the finer points of summoning and reanimation.
Okay, these ones aren't exactly secret or hidden, but they are unmarked. The 3 sentinels, or 3 guard towers positioned along the road north of Riften, stand as watchful guardians of the city's borders. These 3 wooden towers, manned by the local Riften guards, remind us of the ever-present vigilance required to maintain order in the region. Each tower is equipped with a chest labeled confiscated goods, containing items that have been seized from travelers or other individuals. Though the contents of these chests might tempt the curious, it's important to note that while the loot is technically available for taking, doing so is still considered theft by the laws of Skyrim. The towers themselves are not particularly imposing, but their strategic placement along the main road makes them a noteworthy part of Riften's defenses.
The Trapper's Dilemma, found in the forest of the east of Fort Greenwall, is a cunning setup designed to test both the Dragonborn's wits and their combat ability. At the heart of the dilemma is a rusty cage containing a wolf, circling restlessly within its confines. Freeing the animal triggers a hidden ambush as 2 trappers who have been lying in wait behind nearby rocks spring into action and attack, hoping to take down the intruder. The situation unfolds with a touch of irony. If the wolf survives the skirmish, it will remain nearby in the cage, perhaps grateful for its freedom or simply unwilling to leave.
One thing is for certain, there are plenty of treasure hunters within the game, and yet their camps are always unmarked. If you head east of Lake Gear, you'll come across the Treasure Hunters Camp, a small spot that looks like someone left in a hurry. With a smoking campfire and a simple bedroll, it feels like a temporary pit stop. but there's something about it that makes you think it's more than just a random campsite. The supplies lying around suggest it's been used a lot. Take a closer look and you'll find a note sitting casually on one of the barrels. It hints at a buried treasure, pointing you toward Treasure Hunter's Island, where the real action is happening. Turns out the camp belongs to a couple of treasure hunters who are currently off searching for their prize, leaving this place feeling empty yet still alive. I wonder if they found the treasure and when they'll be back.
Remember the treasure hunters camp we just mentioned? Well, now there's an entire treasure hunters island, located south of Nalheim on Lake Gear, which is a secluded spot that holds both intrigue and danger. At the heart of this small island lies a treasure chest, a coveted prize for any adventurer daring enough to seek it out. The island is not without its guardians, however. The two treasure hunters from the nearby camp have made their way here, and they will fiercely defend their find. Approaching the chest too recklessly will provoke them, as they have no intention of letting anyone claim the treasure without a fight. The island itself is quiet, save for the tension between the hunters and any who approach.
Just west of the ruins of Raccoon, you'll find the Troll Den Raccoon, and honestly, it's exactly the place you'd expect a troll to call home. This creepy little hideout is tucked inside the crumbling remains of an old Nordic barrow, long abandoned and now claimed by a not-so-friendly troll. The entrance to the actual barrow is sealed shut, but that hasn't stopped the troll from making itself comfortable, sharing the space with a dead goat and a few skeletons. A chest packed with valuables is up for grabs, along with a few urns that might hold some extra goodies. And if you take a short walk east of the den, right next to a fallen birch tree, you'll find something a little more useful. A copy of Proper Lock Design, a skill book that gives your lockpicking a nice little boost. It seems like these damn trolls are located in half of the unmarked locations. More residual trauma thanks to the High Hrothgar troll.
The trolled Stormcloaks at Darkwater Overhang is obviously an unsettling sight, located north of Iverstead along a rocky path that leads toward the river. Here, a cave carved into the cliffside provides as a lair for a troll, who has also claimed the space after wreaking havoc on two unfortunate Stormcloak soldiers. Their bodies lie among the carnage, victims of the beast's savage attack, with one of the fallen soldiers clutching a note, a final message that may reveal more about his ill-fated journey. Scattered within the cave are the remains of not only the Stormcloaks, but also an elk that didn't quite satisfy the troll's hunger, and another skeleton that can be looted for what little it may have left. Amidst the chaos, a valuable unmined ore vein stands ready, while a rare plant species adds an unexpected touch of life to the otherwise desolate scene.
If you're traveling southeast of Riften along the main road, you might come across the Tumbledown Tower, the crumbling remains of what was once a proud structure. Now it's pretty much just a pile of broken stone. But that hasn't stopped a couple of bandits from turning it into their personal hideout. These guys aren't the toughest around, but they do know how to ambush unsuspecting travelers, so keep your guard up. Taking them down isn't too big of a deal or a challenge. And if you do, it's definitely worth it. One of the bandits carries a copy of King, the two-handed skill book. Plus, there's a chest tucked away with some decent loot, making the short battle well worth your time.
Two Pine Ridge, just east of Stendar's Beacon and downhill from the flagged troll lair, is a peaceful, solitary spot beneath the shade of a lone tree near a cliff. The area, though tranquil, is a story of traveler or miner who once sought rest here. Beneath the tree, a single bedroll lies as a dormant, faint reminder of past occupants with a pickaxe nearby, implying that the individual may have been mining the nearby veins of iron ore. Among the items left behind are two books, 2920 Volume 8 Last Seed, a valuable skill book for sneak, and Cats of Skyrim, which provides an entertaining exploration of the feline creatures in the province. In addition to these treasures, two iron ore veins are available for mining, which makes sense when reflecting on the placement of the pickaxe. The first of the three dens on the list, the Wild Animal Den near Crystal Drift Cave, is a simple site tucked northeast of the cave's entrance. This secluded den is a quiet statement of the surrounding wildlife. There are no grand treasures or hidden relics to be found, but the area holds a typical prize, the corpse of a deer or elk, left behind as a casualty of the wild predators that inhabit the area. The Wild Animal Den south of Mistwatch, northeast of Clear Spring Tarn, is a quiet spot, albeit there are wolves of course. This wolf's den offers no grand treasures, but where there's a den, there's a dead body, and the lifeless bodies of a deer and a rabbit can be found here, casualties of the ever-present cycle of predator and prey in Skyrim's wilds. The den is further marked by the presence of three nightshade plants. their toxic beauty adding a touch of danger to the otherwise peaceful surroundings. I won't try to oversell it, it's really just a den.
The wild animal den southeast of Shore's Watchtower is your typical untamed spot. In this wolf's den, you'll find the remains of both prey and rather an unfortunate intruder. The lifeless body of an elk lies among the wreckage, while a dead bandit also occupies the space, likely having met her end at the jaws of the wolves or another wild force. A troll skull adds a nice touch to the setting, suggesting that even larger, more menacing creatures might have once called this place home.
The Woodcutter's Camp south of Lake Gear, near the road leading to Iverstead, is a morbid spot marked by the end of a woodcutter. This camp, just northeast of Honeystrand Cave, tells a brief story. The woodcutter lies slumped over his chopping block, a victim of some unseen fate. His lifeless form speaks to the sudden danger that can lurk even in the most easy of places. Though the camp is marked by death, it also holds a few remnants of the woodcutter's life. A coin purse and various food items hint at his simple life. For those who draw closer, an iron ore vein and a corundum ore vein lie nearby, providing a chance to gather some valuable resources.
Is it quiet? Is it picturesque? Yeah, it is. And it's also tucked away just west of Northwatch Keep along a quaint shoreline. This abandoned camp offers a surprising abundance of resources and a serene view of the Sea of Ghosts. For those of you who stumble upon it, the camp is both a practical stop and something that will bring you nostalgia if you ever went camping in your youth. The camp features a cooking spit beside a wooden box filled with clam meat, hinting at the daily labors of its former occupant. Scattered along the shoreline are over 30 clams ready to be harvested, making it a veritable treasure trove for those gathering ingredients. With the Hearthfire DLC, the camp's bounty becomes even more valuable, as the clams can be used to prepare clam chowder, a comforting dish for the Dragonborn who gathers butter, milk, and potatoes to complete the recipe. Adding to the camp's charm, the shoreline is dotted with Mora tapenella mushrooms and nern roots, their glow and unique appearance enhancing the natural beauty of the area. Looking north from the shore reveals a breathtaking view of Castle Volkar, its dark silhouette contrasting with the tranquil waters below. Nearby landmarks like Rimerock Burrow and Icewater Jetty further root the camp within Skyrim's interconnected wilderness.
The Couldn't Be Bothered Cave is a curious and less than mysterious landmark at the very edge of the western road within the mountains, far west of Pinefrost Tower and Rimerock Burrow. Its entrance, which resembles that of a typical Skyrim cave, is notably sealed off, as if nature, the Lord himself, or the developers decided it wasn't worth the trouble to let anyone in. The cold wind that emanates from its blocked opening adds to its intrigue, pushing a story left untold. Bleeding crown mushrooms grow defiantly near the entrance, their presence suggesting that even the flora seems eager to uncover the secrets locked within. The location itself is remote, perched on the edge of Skyrim's map where the cobblestone road dwindles into wilderness, further amplifying the sense of abandonment and mystery. Or maybe it's not that deep and is just a few rocks lying around. Who knows? Whether this cave was intended to be a part of a larger story or is simply a nod to the whims of game design, it sparks curiosity within the mind. Sure, it doesn't offer treasure or danger, but it leaves an impression of what could have been. A small and somewhat hauntingly beautiful isle west of Broken Ore Grotto, this island is shrouded in mystery and tinged with melancholy. Inhabited only by mud crabs and marked by a lone flag fluttering atop its rocky peak, the island's defining feature is a skeleton clinging to the flagpole. An image of determination, defiance, or perhaps desperation. It kind of reminds me of that classic American image raising the flag on Iwo Jima, but not nearly as iconic. At the base of the island's small hill lie two gold ore veins, hidden like treasures in plain sight, on opposite sides of the incline. Scattered across the island are various alchemical ingredients, offering viable rewards to those who venture here. The abundance of gold ore may tempt treasure hunters, but the island's atmosphere suggests that its wealth comes at a cost, with the skeletal figure serving as a silent warning. Was this the site of a shipwrecked sailor's final stand? A prospector who refused to leave their claim? Or perhaps a tragic figure clinging to hope in a moment of despair? The lack of definitive answers adds to the island's allure, leaving us to speculate on the story behind its name. But more importantly, this place makes me want to do a Skeletons of Skyrim video.
This is a treacherous location found in a gully southwest of Volskag. Here, two forsworn looters have made their lair, crafting a deadly trap to ensnare unsuspecting travelers. This place is one of brutality and opportunism, with 3 bear traps laid out strategically in the narrow pass, one of which has already claimed the life of an unfortunate Nord. Poor bastard. The camp itself is located at the eastern end of the gully. It's extremely simple but functional. And I mean extremely simple, resembling a makeshift wooden shelter that someone like Eeyore may have built. The simple tent houses a chest containing loot, a coin purse, and 2 hay piles for resting. Despite its overly humble appearance, the camp is charged with hostile tension of its forsworn occupants, who will attack on sight, protecting their territory and spoils with savage hostility. The Forsworn ambush camp is emblematic of the Forsworn's guerrilla tactics and their relentless survival when roaming in the forest, but it's also a place to add spice to an otherwise peaceful spot near the peaks. This site is more atmospheric than anything else, but it's nestled along the path that ascends toward the Thalmor Embassy. Veering off onto a smaller trail to the right, travelers will discover a modest Nordic shrine, marked by an ancient stone head presiding over the remnants of a burial site. The ruins, weathered by time, offer a glimpse into Skyrim's cultural history, though their secrets remain largely untold. 3 burial urns rest at the site, each being a witness to the reverence once held for the long-forgotten Nordic hero interred here. However, the urns have already been plundered, their contents taken by opportunistic grave robbers, leaving behind only emptiness of a once sacred place. But if we're being real with ourselves, of course we're going to loot the place as well. Also, a leveled weapon can be found among the ruins, a small reward for those making a pit stop to explore this tucked away location. The steps leading to the shrine end abruptly at a steep gully, offering a sweeping view of Skyrim's landscape. Even if this location doesn't offer the fanciest of rewards, I always find it a fun and pleasant surprise to stumble upon forgotten ruins when roaming around Skyrim, and this is no exception.
What does pickpocketing and saber cats have to do with each other? Usually nothing. However, in the case of Saber Cat Lair, which is northeast of the Thalmor Embassy, there's some relation between the two. Perched among a rocky outcropping, this saber cat lair serves as a home to a pair of fierce saber cats, their presence making it a dangerous spot for the tired traveler. The lair's untamed surroundings are emblematic of Skyrim's wilderness, where danger often lurks in even the most unassuming places. Amidst the rocks, the body of a dead Argonian lies as a warning of the saber cat's ferocity. Behind the unfortunate victim rests a coin purse, a small and somber find for adventurers who brave the area. For those seeking to enhance their skills, the book Guide to Better Thieving can be found at this location too, offering a boost to pickpocket abilities for the opportunistic explorer. The lair also serves as a getaway to further hidden treasures. Scaling the rocks to the right, for instance, leads to another unmarked location known as Pincushion Peter, which we will get to shortly, adding an element of discovery to this otherwise hostile environment. Nearby, a Nordic burial shrine with urns and a leveled weapon enhances the mystique of this area, creating a layered narrative that ties the natural dangers to Skyrim's ancient past. Wolf dens and saber cat lairs often offer a dead body that can be looted, and this place is no exception. I don't care if lairs and dens are basically the same thing in Skyrim, at least they offer skill books.
If you've ever traveled along the snow path between Lost Echo Cave and Steepfall Burrow, odds are you ventured your way to this location, or at least saw it from afar. This ruined tower, now a frost troll's lair, tells a tale of survival and savagery in the icy wilderness of Hoffingar. The tower itself, though crumbling and abandoned, retains a blood-spattered image against the snow-covered backdrop around you. Within its confines lies the evidence of the troll's brutal reign, the lifeless bodies of 2 deer and a fallen Stormcloak soldier, each a victim of the predator that now claims the ruin as its own. On the soldier's body rests the skillbook proper lock design, and in my opinion makes a spot worth visiting. Because who doesn't love a secret location with an easy skill point increase? The Frost Troll, or another leveled beast that may reside here, is not content to wait for intruders. It often leaps down from the promontory to ambush simple travelers. The beast's presence turns this once proud structure into a place of dread, where the cries of the wind are mingled with the cries of those who have died here. The ruined tower, set against the northern wilds, is a symbol of nature's reclaiming of man-made structures. But more importantly, it serves as a place you can go if you need to quickly increase your pickpocketing skill.
A striking location perched atop a steep peak east of the Thalmor Embassy, overlooking the saber cat lair, we see this guy. This unmarked site tells a silent yet vivid story through the remains of a skeleton gruesomely pinned to the slope by 5 different weapons, as if the unfortunate soul was the victim of a violent and deliberate attack. I find it interesting that this dude's bones have been picked dry by some creature lurking about, yet the snow around him is tinted with bloodstains, which would suggest his untimely demise was recent. The timing of his death doesn't make any sense in my opinion, but I'm no Sherlock Holmes. Surrounding the skeletal remains are treasures for the opportunistic adventurer. Nearby, leaning against a tree, rests a powerful staff of fireballs, while a knapsack offers additional supplies. The light armor skill book, the Rear Guard, provides a practical boost for those seeking to enhance their defenses. The weapons pinning the skeleton, along with the staff, do not respawn once taken, making the location a rare and finite resource for valuable loot. Adventurers are advised to wait until higher levels to maximize the quality of these items, though the staff itself can prove invaluable to lower level players. The ledge where Pincushion Peter lies is steep and treacherous, often trapping wildlife that spawn there, which is a fancy way of me saying the ledge at this location is too steeply angled for AI pathfinding, so any wildlife that spawn on the edge are unable to escape and can make good archery practice. I really wish I would have known this back in 2011 when my first playthrough character was an archer. It would have saved me loads of time, but you live and you learn. The skeleton's placement and the violent tableau invite speculation. Was this an execution, an act of revenge, or the work of a deranged mind? One thing's for sure, Pincushion Peter has one of the more scenically gruesome deaths within the game, which makes it all the more fun to find if you randomly stumble upon the site. Found southeast of Pine Moon Cave and nestled beneath a large rocky outcropping, this secluded den serves as a home of a solitary bear, a worthy guardian of its territory and a symbol of the Rim's untamed outside. The scene, as with any lair or den, is simple. Scattered around the lair are the remains of the bear's prey, which includes the lifeless body of a bandit who clearly underestimated the dangers of the region. Which reminds me, didn't we just mention that these lairs and dens usually have a lootable body? The outcropping's natural shelter and the bear's commanding presence create a sense of primal dominance, as if the predator has claimed the patch of Skyrim as its own, undisturbed by the chaos of the outside world. The Pine Moon Bear lair is not marked by grand treasures or sprawling lore, but it does reuse the familiar trope that Bethesda uses where we see the dead bandit or wary traveler splatted across the beast's rocky domain.
On the outside, the cave is small, unnoteworthy, and yet it's a nostalgic spot ruffled beneath the Thalmor embassy. This cave is actually worth mentioning because it serves both as a hidden escape route and a den of danger. It's accessible through a trap door during the quest Diplomatic Immunity or by a narrow, concealed entrance northwest of the embassy. The cave is also part of the quest No Stone Unturned. We don't usually include locations that have quests connected to them, but this one felt a bit nostalgic and we wanted to just throw it in. The cave's primary inhabitant is a formidable frost troll, which makes sense as frost trolls do love their caves. Amid the gloom lies the lifeless body of a conjurer, a silent victim of the cave's perils. The pitiful mage holds items of value, including a leveled spell tome or a staff, and nearby the illusion skill book Before the Ages of Man awaits discovery. For those on the No Stone Unturned quest, a Stone of Baranzaya can also be found here, unless it was previously retrieved from the Thalmor embassy, which in that case it won't appear. Despite its small size, Reeking Cave is rich with narrative and detail, and it ultimately ties to the game's lore. Looking up from its depths reveals an imposing drop, a visual contrast to the trapdoor entrance above, which doesn't make sense since the trapdoor normally wouldn't imply that it's quite a ways down. Whether escaping the embassy under the cover of night or stumbling upon its hidden entrance during exploration, Reeking Cave offers a connection to key quests, making it one of the more memorable waypoint caves in the Dragonborn's journey through the icy expanse.
A quiet location near Chillwind Depths, you can expect to stumble across the adventurer's campsite. This abandoned camp, tucked into the rugged terrain, offers a glimpse into the lives of 3 adventurers who set out to uncover the mystery behind recent caravan attacks in the area. The camp itself is nothing grand, with little more than basic supplies, some food, a few weapons, and scattered clutter. A knapsack and a satchel add to the impression of a group prepared for the hardships of the road. The most notable discovery here is the adventurer's journal, which chronicles their intentions to investigate the dangers lurking nearby. Their courage starkly mixed against the camp's now deserted state. While the site holds no dramatic treasures, its simplicity and narrative weight make it memorable. The absence of the adventurers themselves leaves a lingering question. Did they meet their fate within the perilous depths of Chillwind, or fall victim to the same forces they sought to confront? One can expect to find this lonely scene along the road southeast of Dragon Bridge. A merchant's wagon lies overturned, surrounded by tragedy. The lifeless bodies of a married couple, a red-guard woman and a Nordic man, and their fallen horse. The sad evidence of their demise points to a brutal ambush by the Falmer. The aftermath tells a sorrowful tale. Falmer arrows pierce the couple, and a severed Falmer ear lies near the woman, gossiping at a desperate struggle before they succumbed. Among the wreckage, the woman's merchant's journal reveals her apprehension about traveling through the perilous wilderness to begin with, a fear that tragically came true. The wagon itself holds little value, save for a knapsack containing a skill book and a few humble belongings. This tragedy has drawn the attention of a group of adventurers who have ventured toward the nearby Chilwyn depths in search of answers, or perhaps retribution, against the Falmer who staged the attack. The location's proximity to the infamous cavern reinforces the ominous presence of the Falmer in the region, a constant threat to travelers daring to traverse Skyrim's wild roads.
This burial ground is hidden away southeast of Morthal amidst the marshy and mysterious terrain of Hjalmark. This Nordic burial mound harbors some seriously dark secrets. One could already guess that a black arts burial ground paints a odd picture. You'll find a necromancer impaled to a table by a dagger, a reminder of the dangerous arts that drew them to this place. Nearby, you can claim the Staff of Revenants, a potent artifact of necromantic power. The site also hosts an animated skeleton rising to defend its domain, and various scattered treasures, including the illusion skill book, The Black Arts on Trial. Who knows what exactly went down here? Why is this necromancer impaled to the table? Some form of ritual or something else? A site hidden southeast of the abandoned shack and west of Ustengrav, these crumbled remains of a once grand Nordic tomb now lie overgrown with foliage. Among the ruins lies a draugr, forever trapped beneath the fallen stones, an indication of the tomb's collapse. On the draugr's body rests the sneak skill book Sacred Witness. Nearby, a burial urn and a locked chest offer further rewards for those willing to explore the site's scattered remains. The mound's stillness has this eerie vibe, like it's hiding some kind of danger just under the surface. The only sound is the wind cutting through the overgrown plains. Coming across old ruins like this always gives the environment a personal touch in my opinion, and it makes me wonder why the previous settlers ever let it go to the wayside.
Are you surprised another hold has another unmarked dead mammoth location? You shouldn't be. This unmarked spot is located southwest of Morthal, near the river, and east of Dead Man's Respite. By the side of a dirt path, a mammoth lies lifeless, felled not by hunters or giants, but by the raw force of nature, a bear. The mammoth's massive body rests near the riverbank, its majesty now subdued in death. Beside it lies the bear, perhaps exhausted or victorious after the ferocious struggle. A moment of brutal survival etched into the landscape. The scene is silent, save for the ambient sounds of the wilderness, giving off somewhat of a somber mood. At least this mammoth died by a force of nature though. These dragon mounds are always so serene, aren't they? This mound is a site sitting west of Miko's shack near the gentle flow of the Karth River. Shrouded by the dense forest and the region's rugged beauty, this ancient burial mound stands as a solemn monument to the Dragon War and the draconic legacy that continues to shape Skyrim's destiny. During the quest Diplomatic Immunity, the mound is reawakened, serving as a site of another ominous resurrection. The once quiet mound bursts open, releasing one of his long slumbering kin back to the skies of Tamriel. This moment ties the mound's ancient history to the unfolding events of the present, heightening the tension of the Dragonborn's journey. Its location amidst the natural splendor of the Karth River forest adds a nice difference to the mound's ominous purpose. The tranquility of the surroundings is interrupted by the stirring of an ancient power, a nudge of Skyrim's precarious balance between beauty and danger.
I know that you guys love the dragon mounds. Don't worry, we don't have too many this time. South of Morthal, near the ruins of the Labyrinthian, you'll find this fascinating dragon mound. It's just another mound, as you can see, where a dragon will inevitably pop out during Alduin's crusade through the landscape. But there's also a moonstone ore vein tucked into the mound's side if you're into that stuff. The jagged cliffs and sweeping views of the peaks make the whole place feel more epic. Like all dragon mounds, it's a spot where ancient powers rise again to test today's heroes. Perched on a bluff west of Dead Man's Respite, this dragon mound is another relic from the Dragon War. It stays quiet until it's awakened during the Diplomatic Immunity quest, when Alduin's influence starts bringing dragons back. Nearby, you'll find an iron ore vein here, a little something practical for anyone stopping by. This place does have some pretty incredible views though.
This burial mound is a curious and unassuming site nestled near the Apprentice Stone. Despite its ominous name, this half-flooded Nordic barrow holds no draugr to menace adventurers. Instead, its current inhabitants are far less sinister, a large number of mud crabs that have claimed the ancient ruins as their home. Easy enough. The mound, overtaken by the encroaching swamp, reflects the passage of time as nature reclaims what was once a solemn resting place. Within the ruins, a novice lock chest and a potion await discovery, alongside the lock-picking skill book, The Locked Room, offering tangible rewards for those who choose to venture into the murky depths. Its quiet desolation and modest treasure, along with the grandeur and danger of other Nordic ruins, makes the Draugr burial mound a location of subdued intrigue. So get out there and pay it a visit if you're looking for a random cool place to visit on your next playthrough.
I mean, with a name like Ghost Barrow, it's pretty obvious there's a ghost involved, right? This Nordic tomb tucked northeast of Kienstag ruins has a spooky vibe and some solid rewards for anyone who's up for solving its mystery. The entrance is locked with an adept level trapdoor, so you need to be ready for that. But the real kicker, you can't even get inside without first completing the creepy mini quest at Kienstag ruins. To kick things off, you have to wait around at the ruins between 8 PM and 4 AM. That's when a ghost shows up, completely chill and non-threatening, and it'll lead you straight to the barrow. Once there, you'll run into a group of bandits who've claimed the place for themselves. One of them even has the block skill book, A Dance in Fire, book number 2, which makes the whole encounter even better. Inside the barrow, you'll find the grave of a long-dead Nordic warrior. There's some decent loot here, an enchanted weapon, a silver necklace, leveled treasure, and a staff. But if you decide to fight the ghost itself, the rewards get even better. You can snag a full set of ancient Nordic armor and weapons from his remains.
This is quite the scenic encampment perched in the southeast reaches of Hjalmark, near the border of Whiterun Hold. This site serves as a temporary refuge for 2 hunters who have braved the wilderness to live off the fat of the land. The camp is outfitted with simple comforts: a crackling campfire, sturdy tents, bedrolls, and a few knapsacks containing the essentials of survival. Its placement atop the summit offers sweeping views of the surrounding terrain, embodying the raw beauty and solitude of Skyrim's wilderness. However, the serenity is not without danger. A frost troll roams nearby, a looming threat to the hunters and any who venture too close. Its presence underscores the precarious balance of survival in Tamriel's wilds, where the line between hunter and hunted is often blurred. Also, what's with the frost trolls always being so close to the hunters' encampments? This place is a Stonehenge-esque site located east of Dragon Bridge, nestled along the rocky cliffs above the Karth River. Here, the remnants of a small Nordic ruin serve as a backdrop for a cool enough scene of alchemical experimentation and dark magic. A lone mage has claimed the henge, setting up an alchemy lab and conjuration circle amidst the weathered stones. At the heart of this sinister illustration lies the lifeless body of a woman, an unsettling testament to the mage's evil pursuits. On the alchemy lab, a bowl of ingredients awaits, ready to produce a restore health potion, while the alchemy skill book, Mannimarco, King of Worms, offers insight into the darker practices of Tamriel's magical arts. Despite its shadowy atmosphere, the site holds little material value beyond its alchemical components and the skill book. The haunting presence of the mage, the desolate ruins, and the sad beauty of the Karth River below create a compelling story, blending the natural with the arcane. I don't know though, maybe it's best to leave the mage and let him do his thing.
This bandit hideout sits right on the banks of the Karth River, just east of Dragon Bridge and not too far from the mysterious Karth River Henge. It's a small camp that blends perfectly with the wild. The main draw here is a locked chest that's guarded by a few bandits. Next to it, you'll find the block skill book Warrior. Quick question, how many of you have actually leveled up block all the way? Is it even worth the grind? Honestly, the camp might look simple, but don't let that fool you. The bandits here will defend their loot like their lives depend on it. Because, well, they kinda do. Even if you're not hyped about the block skill book, the views from the spot are totally worth a visit. Trust me.
Are you a fan of saber cats? Me neither. Saber Cat Rock is a perilous ambush site nestled near standing stones at the border of Hjalmark and the Reach. This rough outcropping, shaped by the wilderness, is a testament of the risks faced by travelers and hunters alike. The site is guarded by 2 saber cats, fierce predators lying in wait for unsuspecting prey. Scattered evidence of their success includes the remains of an ill-fated hunter, whose belongings, though sparse, offer rewards for the bold. Among the loot are a coin purse, a satchel, and the one-handed skillbook 2920 Volume 1 Morning Star, a decent enough incentive to venture here. The harsh, untamed beauty of the surrounding landscape heightens a sense of danger, with the standing stones serving as a silent witness to the ambushes that have unfolded here. Saber Cat Rock embodies the wild heart of the game, yet it's easy enough to tackle if you need a free skill point.
This shrine is a peaceful little spot tucked north of Brood Cavern in the middle of Skyrim's wilderness. Dedicated to Kinnereth, the goddess of nature and the skies, it's the kind of place that just feels calm and inviting. A perfect stop for anyone needing her blessings or looking for a quiet moment to reflect. The shrine itself sits on a simple altar, blending so effortlessly into the landscape it feels like it's always been there. It's the kind of spot that makes you think about how connected we are to nature, which is totally Kinnereth's vibe. And the views from the bluffs make it even better. It's the perfect mix of peaceful and inspiring. Every time I come across a shrine like this, it takes me back to those early Elder Scrolls playthroughs, when finding shrines felt like a big deal. There's just something special about stumbling on places like this for the first time.
Single Hunter Camp is a refuge tucked along the path leading toward North Cold Rock Pass. North of the pass, this small encampment serves as a quiet haven for a lone hunter living on the fringes of Skyrim's wilderness. Amid the camp's basic trappings lies a notable treasure, the archery skill book, the Gold Ribbon of Merit, a valuable resource if you're seeking to refine your marksmanship. However, the serenity of the camp is deceptive as a frost troll prowls nearby, posing a grave threat to the hunter and any adventurers passing through. The lone hunter's presence, though unassuming, adds a touch of humanity in my opinion, and I welcome these type of NPC interactions when doing playthroughs of any RPG.
This little hideout is found east of the East Empire Company warehouse and just north of the Apprentice Stone. Hidden beneath a rocky overhang surrounded by standing stones, it's a spot that practically tells the story of smugglers who once used it to lay low and keep their activities under wraps. The alcove isn't huge, but it's packed with details that hint at its shady past. Among the scattered crates and debris of the camp, you'll find the pickpocket skill book Purloined Shadows. Another nice find if you're into stealthy gameplay. There's also Danis Valen's journal, and if you're rocking the Creation Club content, you'll find the Necromancer's journal, which adds a darker twist to the place's backstory. It's one of those spots that feels strangely realistic. I could totally imagine hunkering down here to escape Skyrim's brutal weather. It's cozy in a rogue kind of way. This creepy ruin feels exactly like something tied to Phalion, the mysterious mage from Morthal. You'll find it right here in the marshlands of Hjalmarch. At the center of the site is a raised platform that looks a lot like the Necromancer set up in the Wolf Skull Cave during the Man Who Cried Wolf quest. This is where Phalion performs the ritual to cure the Dragonborn of vampirism in Rising at Dawn. Spoiler alert, but come on, it's been like 13 years. You'll need a black soul gem to make it happen, so this place plays a pretty big role if you're looking to ditch your undead status. The whole area has this eerie, desolate vibe, like it's caught between life and death, magic and mortality.
Located north of the Apprentice Stone, with Solitude visible in the distance, it's clear a Red Wedding type of event occurred here. Nestled amidst the marshy terrain, this small camp tells a story of unexpected violence and survival gone horribly, horribly wrong. The camp features 2 lean-to shelters with hay beds and a smoldering fire pit, suggesting a temporary refuge for its ill-fated occupants. Nearby lie the mauled remains of the campers, depressing evidence of a sudden and brutal attack, likely by the hostile animals that prowl the surrounding area. Amidst the carnage, a beacon of knowledge can be found in the form of the Exodus, a restoration skill book tucked into one of the lean-tos. For those seeking usable rewards, a corundum ore vein lies on the northern side of the pond, offering a small but valuable resource. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. My favorite unmarked locations are those that offer skill points. Enjoy.
Does the dead horse make this place feel creepy? Yeah, I'd say so. You'll find this grim little scene in the wilds north of the Shrine of Mehrunes Dagon and southwest of Dawnstar. It's one of those unmarked spots that really shows how dangerous Skyrim's roads can be, even for someone who thought they were ready for anything. Here, a mage traveling by wagon didn't stand a chance against 2 bandits who ambushed them. The mage is long gone, but their wagon is still here, littered with alchemy supplies and potions that hint at their trade. The mage's story might be over, but their belongings and the dangers of the road tell the rest of what's left. First up, we've got a bandit's book, perched along the cliffs between Harmerkstall and the Karth River. Here lies the lifeless body of a bandit. No backstory, no context, just the chilling silence of Skyrim's wilderness. But what makes this place special other than it's not marked on the map? Well, beside our unfortunate friend, you'll find the destruction skill book Horror of Castle Zur. I know, not the most insane thing you've ever heard, but let's be honest. Most of us are just seeking out all the nooks and crannies we can find in Skyrim, and getting a nice little treasure for it is pretty cool. Was this bandit chasing a new path, dabbling in magic, or just in the wrong place at the wrong time? You decide. The journey to the site isn't for the faint-hearted, but the cliffside views? Worth it.
A tranquil yet intriguing location along the riverbank southwest of Skyhaven Temple, you may come upon an abandoned rowboat. Laying against the steep shoreline, this broken and weathered vessel tells a quiet tale of abandonment and mystery. Its contents hinting at a life once lived, or perhaps hastily left behind. The rowboat holds a trove of small but valuable treasures. A strongbox, an apothecary satchel, and a scattering of flawless gems lie amidst its remains, with one of the flawless rubies potentially serving as a key item for the quest, The Only Cure. Beneath the surface of the water, adventurers can find additional riches, including a submerged chest and a few floating mead barrels, adding to the sense of discovery. The scene's simplicity disguises its charm, as the scattered items bring questions about who last used the boat and why they left their possessions behind. Was it the site of a hurried escape, a trader's misfortune, or something more sinister hidden beneath the river's calm exterior? Brush Strongbox Riverside is on the southeast shore of the Karth River. Nestled amidst a tangle of dead branches, this hidden strongbox offers an inaudible reward for the observant adventurer. Its location, halfway between Forest Skull Lookout and Sundered Towers, blends all too easily with the beauty of the Reach, making it an understated discovery. Was this strongbox hastily hidden by a fleeing traveler, the spoils of a bandit's raid, or simply forgotten in the wilds? Its placement in the dry, brittle brush suggests an effort to conceal its treasures, leaving adventurers to speculate on its origins. For those who uncover it, the Brush Strongbox Riverside is a small but satisfying find. It embodies the subtle joys of exploration in Tamriel, where even the smallest details contribute to the richness of the journey. Remember, it's not about the destination, but about the journey. At least I think that was a Tumblr quote at some point.
Next on the list is Cradlestone Crag, a haunting hideaway found between Valthoom and Cradlestone Tower. This is no ordinary troll den, folks. This is where Frofnir Trollsbane, a hunter who lived to slay trolls, met his end. You'll find his body clutching the unique Warhammer Trollsbane, which packs some serious damage against, you guessed it, trolls. But getting there, you'll need to fight through trolls still lingering in the area. If this guy lived to slay trolls, it makes you wonder what kind of beast was able to take him down. Or maybe he just bit off more than he could chew and the whole avalanche of trolls got him. An avalanche is a group of trolls, in case you were wondering. I don't know if that's official, but when I looked it up, it was the first thing I saw, and I thought it sounded badass. This one's a heartbreaker. Between Old Herolden and Soljan's Sinkhole lies the Dead Lovers Camp. Two star-crossed lovers, Talver and Karen, tried to escape to a new life together, but met a tragic end. Their campfire now cold. Not really, but you know what I mean. Karen's journal reveals their forbidden love story, and it pulls at the heartstrings. If you want to read it, make sure you pause. Around the camp, you'll find small details like a hidden stash of coins, and nearby, you'll find some form of predator lurking the camp. It doesn't take a detective to figure out what happened to Romeo and Juliet, but we sure as hell can take our revenge. Also, a fun little fact, if you come back later, you'll see a Shrine of Mara placed here, an elegant nod to their undying love. Skyrim's history oozes from places like the Dragon Mound at Karthspire Bluffs. Southwest of Soljan's Sinkhole, this mound is dormant until the quest Alduin's Wall. Suddenly, Alduin shows up, reanimating one of his ancient kin. There's not much more to say about this really. There are lots of dragon mounds found in Skyrim, but I like to include them in the videos because I think a lot of people miss out on them. Many of them.
Reachwater Pass is an ancient burial site south of Deepwood Redoubt, hidden amidst the foliage of the Reach. This mound, like others scattered across Skyrim, serves as a resting place for one of the dragons vanquished during the Dragon War, embodying the weight of Tamriel's history and the resurgence of an ancient threat. During the quest Elder Knowledge, the mound stirs to life as the World Eater enacts his will, resurrecting one of his fallen brethren. The once silent burial mound opens, transforming into a place of stressfulness as the dragon emerges. With the untamed beauty of the Reach, the mound's surroundings add to its distinctive mood. Its proximity to the hidden depths of Reachwater Pass ties it to the broader mystery and lore of Skyrim's ancient past, creating a blend of narrative and exploration.
How about something a little more peaceful? Harmigstall Falls gives us the perfect mix of Skyrim vibes. A dwarven stone arch, cascading waterfalls, and a soft glow from Nirnroot nearby. There's also a restoration skill book, Withershins, along with some useful ore veins for resourceful adventurers. Take a moment to enjoy the serenity and maybe brush up on your restoration skills. This is one of those places you'll think back to in a few years' time because it really catches the atmosphere of Skyrim. I'm sure when you think of Oblivion or Morrowind, there's certain places that briefly flash through your thoughts. I couldn't tell you the names of these places in my head, but more of the feeling and aesthetic. Do you guys get me or no?
This location, hidden along a goat trail north of Salvia's farm, is extremely, and I mean extremely, modest. This overgrown and weathered site offers a glimpse into the enduring presence of the Dwemer, whose ruins and remnants continue to punctuate Skyrim's landscapes. The trail leads to a pile of ancient dwarven rubble, where an overgrown Dwemer chest lies concealed amidst the foliage. Its worn appearance and subtle placement suggest that it has long been forgotten, its secrets waiting to be unraveled. The natural surroundings, with their charm and quiet remoteness, clash with the mechanical precision of the Dwemer artifacts, creating somewhat of a timeless curiosity. In all reality, however, this place is pretty basic, so I'll leave it up to you if you think it's worth the venture out here. With the Wisp Mother clearly located here, of course it's a bit eerie, and these dwarven ruins are set atop a mountain ridge west of the shrine to Periite. This remote site, marked by a distinctive four-headed Dwemer arch and the hiss of broken steam pipes venting into the cold air, is steeped in danger. The ruin, now claimed by a haunting Wisp Mother and her spectral wisps, blends the mechanical precision of Dwemer architecture with the ethereal menace of its current occupant. The small alcove amidst jagged ground holds a Dwemer chest, tempting adventurers to brave the Wisp Mother's wrath in search of its hidden treasures. The climb to this site is challenging, with the easiest path approaching from the south, adding a sense of effort if you want to discover its reward. These ruins have a cool atmosphere to them since you actually see a stone gazebo type of structure and are worth visiting in my opinion. Cropped just east of Deep Folk Crossing along the banks of a river, you will find these here Dwemer ruins. Marked by a lone standing Dwemer pillar and an altar adorned with two dwarven arrows, the ruins maintain a quiet sense of forgotten purpose and ancient intelligence. At the heart of the site lies a Dwemer convector, empty but nostalgic of the technological marvels of the long-vanished Dwemer. Surrounding the area are scattered remnants, including generic arrows and Gerard's satchel, which contains several Dwemer artifacts, an essential find for those advancing the Dawnguard questline. The ruins are caught between two worlds, the eternal wilderness and the remnants of a vanished civilization. These ruins aren't anything too wild, but are tame and atop the eastern bank of the Karth River. Tucked in juniper bushes west of the Reach Stormcloak camp, this unassuming location offers a glimpse into the faded remnants of Dwemer ingenuity, yet again. Here, a scattered pile of ancient dwarven stones hints at a forgotten structure, now reclaimed by the wilderness. Among the ruins lies a small dwarven chest for the keen-eyed adventurer. Nearby, an iron ore vein provides a practical resource, blending utility with the mystery of the site. It's pleasant, it's small, and that's about it.
Things are going to get a little dark again with the Forsworn camp near Bethardums. Well, depending on how you feel about the Forsworn. Two Forsworn warriors lie defeated with their dog, victims of a nearby frost troll. The camp is in an obvious place of survival, and they're trying to outlast nature here. They had pelts, a tanning rack, and signs of their efforts to make a life in the wild. You'll find the destruction skill book, The Art of War Magic, and some ore veins, but watch out for that troll. He's still prowling the area. Found on a steep path near Valthum, Gloomreach is a humble yet dangerous Forsworn hideout. Two warriors call this place home, with hay beds and apothecary's satchel. It's not much, but it's a living, I guess. Found fairly high up the mountain, the camp provides a seclusion and decent vantage point, but it's no match for a determined dragonborn. Simple, remote, and worth a visit for adventurous alchemists.
A dynamic location set west of Reachwater Rock along the tranquil yet treacherous riverbanks of the Reach, you will find the Forsworn camp of the Reachwater River. This small camp, once a refuge for the Forsworn, has become the site of a fierce skirmish between its inhabitants and two soldiers, Imperials or Stormcloaks, depending on who holds sway over the region. Arriving at the camp, the Dragonborn witnesses the aftermath of its clash. The soldiers, having defeated the Forsworn, offer their gratitude for any assistance rendered during the fight, a rare moment of camaraderie amidst the division set here. The camp itself holds a block skillbook, a prize for those who linger to explore its remains. The Forsworn's presence is a reminder of their enduring resistance, while the soldiers' intervention highlights the Reach's contested and ever-shifting loyalties.
Do you ever feel like Skyrim's out to trick you? The Hagraven nest west of Ragnvald does just that. It looks like an abandoned camp, small tent, tempting chest, another perfect contender for a Constellations Gaming secret location vid, I hear you say under your breath. But this one is a little different. Open up the chest and you're greeted by a screeching Hagraven ready to fight. She doesn't jump out of the chest like a mimic or something, in case you were confused. Though that would be awesome. She just comes strolling down the path. Skyrim's wilderness keeps you on edge, even in a seemingly quiet spot.
Though some may think this place is an unsettling location northwest of the shrine to Periite, it's kind of humorous too. This small, tranquil pond, seemingly quaint at first glance, holds a tale of vulnerability and violence in the Reach's wilderness. At the water's edge lies the lifeless body of a swimmer, identified only as captive. Her scattered belongings, a high-value necklace, and discarded clothing suggest a moment of leisure that turned tragically fatal. Nearby, her journal provides insight into her story, shedding light on her ill-fated encounter with the Forsworn, whose presence looms ominously over the region. Adding to the site's beauty, a nirnroot grows near the pond's edge, its gentle hum not giving a care in the world with the tragedy it witnesses.
North and northeast of Valthum, the juniper tree ruins blend nature and Dwemer architecture beautifully. A single juniper tree rises above the stone ruins. It's a nice contrast, and it feels reminiscent of something from Lord of the Rings. There are 2 skill books you can find here, Enchanter's Prime and Light Armor Forging. Plus, a Forsworn camp below keeps the danger level high. It's a hike, but the reward of checking this location off your personal list might be worth it. What, you don't have a list? You better start one up.
This is a hidden gem of quiet mystery and understated storytelling, located northeast of Purewater Run, where 2 waterfalls converge in an embrace of nature. This secluded spot offers the adventurer a blend of beauty and intrigue, away from the hustle and bustle of the realm. At the heart of the site lies a treasure chest, its contents waiting to reward those who follow the cascading waters to their source. Nearby, beneath a tree, the remains of a skeleton hint at a life long since lost to time. Beside the bones rests a coin purse and a leveled weapon, their presence sparking questions about the skeleton's fate. Was this a daring treasure hunter, a wayward traveler, or a soul who sought solace in the wilderness?
Ever ventured northwest of the Loverstone? Then you might have stumbled across this spot, another dragon mound. I will say though that this specific location for this mound is pretty breathtaking. This mound is surrounded by some of the best environments you can find in the game, in my opinion. Here's a classic Nordic burial mound for you, located along a hilltop path southwest of Reachwind Eyrie. This little slice of Skyrim history is all about honoring the dead. At the top, you'll find a leveled weapon resting at the altar. Then there's a nearby skeleton clutching a coin purse, and inside the mound, a single burial urn can be looted. If urns and graves aren't your thing, then there's a chest hidden inside the ruins. Bonus, it contains the smithing skill book Light Armor Forging, which is perfect if you're leveling that skill. And let us not ignore the setting. Between the weathered stones, a bird's nest, and the dramatic Reach landscape, it's a scene straight out of a Nordic saga. The trek up the hill is worth it, especially if you want a taste of Skyrim's ancient culture. Imagine a locked treasure chest sitting on a tiny island surrounded by rushing rapids. Would you risk it? Not in game, but in real life. Well, that's the setup southwest of Old Herolden Inn, where you'll find a secluded little treasure spot. On this small, peaceful island, there's a locked chest waiting to be cracked open. Inside, you'll discover loot, including the Illusion Skillbook 2920 Volume 2 Sun's Dawn. Skyrim tends to have a knack for turning even the smallest places into memorable experiences.
Finding a saber cat here is expected, but finding a dead one, not so much. This location is placed in a steep, shadowed crevice south of the shrine to Periite. This isolated ravine tells a story of a fatal encounter, where a lone saber cat lies lifeless alongside the skeletal remains of its would-be hunter, offering a glimpse into the unforgiving nature of even the smallest of trail adventures. Amidst the outdoorsy terrain, adventurers can discover remnants of the struggle. An enchanted hunting bow and steel arrows hint at the hunter's valiant but ultimately doomed effort, while a leveled battle axe rests nearby as a silent testifier to the event. A weathered knapsack contains random supplies, a small consolation for those who come across this tragic scene. The ravine itself, with its steep cliffs and foreboding atmosphere, frames the narrative in a way that invites us to ponder. Was the hunter overconfident, or was the saber cat unusually fierce?
Just south of Old Herolden Inn, you'll find this unassuming shrine to Dibella, the goddess of beauty, love, and art. Set in a serene clearing near the road, it's a spot you might accidentally stumble across during your travels. Hunters sometimes gather here, adding a touch of life to the shrine. But don't be tempted to pocket any of Dibella's offerings. Taking anything from the shrine counts as theft, and let's face it, you do not want to anger the goddess of love. While it's not exactly hidden, it's still technically an unmarked location.
A meaningful site, as with most shrines, this place is located west of Four Skull Lookout. Dedicated to Zenithar, the divine of labor, commerce, and craftsmanship, this shrine embodies the values of diligence and prosperity in Skyrim's name. With the rugged backdrop of the region, the shrine features modest offerings that align with Zenithar's principles. A coin purse symbolizes the fruits of honest trade, while a pickaxe reflects the industrious spirit of those who toil in the earth for their livelihood. These items serve the Dragonborn and are thematic reminders of Zenithar's domain over the virtues of hard work and self-reliance. Perhaps the craziest part of this location is the rock formation. Just try not to get too close to the edge.
Between Ragnvald and Bethardums, you'll come across a bandit's lifeless body sprawled over a locked chest. It's set on a rocky overhang, not far from the ruins of Ragnvald. The chest, still locked tight, is probably the reason why we find the bandit like we do. Around the area, signs of a last-ditch struggle are scattered about, with the predators like wolves or bears ready to defend their territory. So if this wasn't the bandit's chest per se, then who left it here? And if it was the bandit's chest, did he forget where he left his keys? And did he really die for this? Unlucky.
A site located east of Broken Tower Redoubt, where the remains of a miner tell a quiet tale of ambition and tragedy, you will find the exposed miner. Set against the rocky terrain, this location features a corundum ore vein and the skeletal remains of the miner who once sought to extract its riches, their pickaxe still resting near their lifeless form. Descending the slope below the miner reveals a tipped-over cart, its contents scattered across the ground. Among the books strewn about is a legendary skill book that enhances two-handed combat, offering a valuable find. The spilled cart, laden with literary treasures, adds an element of mystery. What inspired this miner's journey, and what led to their untimely end? If they were learning two-handed combat techniques based on the skill book, maybe they didn't get too far along in their readings. This totem is an alcove west of Karthweston and below the ridge where the shrine to Periite resides. The smaller shrine, marked by a dragon-carved pillar, reverberates the mad reverence to Periite's cult, whose followers are steeped in the Daedric Prince's dominion over plagues and pestilence. The alcove is sinister. A dead female wood elf lies slumped against the totem, surrounded by offerings and eerie remnants. Across from her, a pile of bloody bones hints at a tragic end, likely inflicted by the wolf that now claims the alcove as its den. The offerings include poisons, an enchanted dagger, a diamond, and the illusion skillbook Incident in Necrom, while a nearby chest holds further rewards for the curious or daring. The site has earned the nickname Romeo and Juliet Alcove among some adventurers, a nod to the presence of poison and the tragic reminiscence of doomed lovers. The reference is fitting, as Periite, the Daedric Prince of Plagues, embodies the destructive forces that can consume both body and spirit, a notion poetically mirrored in the scene's dark beauty.